We've not...
Talk Sport.
It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Will Hobbs. Here are your sports headlines. At one point yesterday, New Zealand were 317 for no loss on day one at Trent Bridge. It's now the stroke of lunch on day two, and a very different ball game, Sam Ellard.
Yeah, 417 for 7 approaching lunch. So England are doing well to fight themselves back into this game. There's been 3 wickets in this morning session, all 3 gone to Ben Stokes. You got Daryl Mitchell finding the outside edge. The night watchman Will O'Rourke went for 19, mistiming a pull shot, and then Ben Stokes got Santner with a really good bumper. Blundell's got 17, Nathan Smith's got 4. As we go into the afternoon session, if England get these last 3 wickets relatively quickly, it has been job well done. And on a good deck at Trent Bridge, England will be back in this game. Ben Stokes has got 4 wickets. New Zealand 417 for 7.
Thank you, Sam. Forest legend and Man City coach Stuart Pearce says he'd be nervous about paying £116 million for Elliot Anderson, which has been agreed between Forest and City. Manu Petit, who knows a thing or two about playing midfield in the Premier League, thinks there are better options than City.
Pep Guardiola is not there anymore.
Yeah.
So many players that come, into Manchester City, I become a different players. But he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what will be the future, for City.
Meanwhile, as Arsenal pursue Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes, talkSPORT's Darren Bent would prefer the Gunners to prioritise a left winger.
You say it gets to 80 million for Bruno, that's a big chunk of your budget gone.
Yeah, but I imagine they've set aside how much they want to spend on each position.
Hopefully, but yeah, I'd love to take Bruno.
Who's the one, apart from Krabscali one game, who's the one player on the left you want?
Barcola, PSG. Bradley Barcola, incredible.
All the latest transfer news on the talksport.com live blog, and Serena Williams will make her return to Grand Slam tennis with a first-round match against Australian Maya Joint at Wimbledon next week. Britain's Jack Draper takes on 6th seed and former semi-finalist Taylor Fritz.
Talk Sport News.
Fresh video emerges showing Henry Novak's killer's lies to police, and Andrew Tate loses his bid to find out who his accusers are. More with Toby at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Cloudy with showers and thunderstorms in Scotland. Hail and gusty winds as well. Elsewhere, dry with sunny spells. Extreme heat across eastern England. Temperatures in the west dropping slightly.
Ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good afternoon to everyone back in the UK. Good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. So a last-minute win for Ecuador against Germany puts Scotland now on the brink. Has this got the feel now of death by 1,000 cuts? Meanwhile, Manchester City to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest for £116 million. Does he fit the bill as the most expensive British player ever? Also today, does the solution to VAR come by using it less? Top-ranked president Todd DuBoef joins us in studio. Are the Americans losing all sense of perspective? Has the legacy of the last World Cup really been fake fans? And are we now seeing the evidence of no European football killing Newcastle United? It's Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. Hey everyone, here we go again. New York City on a Friday morning. A bit gloomy around the Statue of Liberty out there if you're watching live on YouTube. Not the best day but another great day ahead. Of that, there is no doubt, because the football cracks on. And I mentioned Simon is with me here in studio. That's not all. Alongside Simon is England legend Stuart Pearce, and alongside Simon, on Simon's other side, is my colleague here at talkSPORT, Alex Crook. Gentlemen, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning. Stuart Pearce, how has the World Cup experience been for you?
I've absolutely loved it to bits. I'm a good traveller anyway, so we've come out, thrown ourselves into a bit of the culture, baseball games, concerts, you name it. It's been fantastic. It really enjoyed it, and I think the games have been really good and exciting as well. And I include last night's game with Germany and Ecuador. I thought Ecuador was sensational, Jim. Honestly, I did.
Yeah, not the best result if you're Scottish, Stuart, as you know. What do you make of our base here in New York? What about this, mate? The studio, 50th floor of the World Trade Center.
I look behind Simon, which is difficult to do because he dominates your vision when you look, you know. But I didn't realise what a view it was behind. Absolutely incredible place. And I've been in the building across the way there, waiting in reception to come up and join you. That's why I was a bit late. But this is magnificent.
You weren't late. He was here on time, Alex, wasn't he?
As always. He was there on time at the darts last night as well. He got a lot of attention at Madison Square Garden. Honestly, he had the top darts players in the world. It was all about Stuart Pearce and people posing for selfies.
I think he stretched the truth a little bit there, but it's a good story anyway.
Simon, good morning to you, mate. Here's the thing, and you warned me. I went to the baseball last night. The Mets lost to the Cubs. New York Mets lost to Chicago Cubs after an extra innings. My God, it goes on and on and on, Simon.
But you've been to see a baseball game now.
Yeah.
That's another thing. You may say that you might not want to go to another one.
Yeah.
But you went to that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Luke was obviously busy laying on his bed doing precisely nothing, so he couldn't be bothered. But well done you for patronising. I've been to baseball games, so I know what they look like. So well done you for embracing the culture. It's nice to see people respecting the environment they're in.
Simon, that was very kind of you.
You're welcome.
Now, let's go from
over there.
Let's go from that compliment to maybe a bit of a laughter, but at Simon's expense, although it's not really. Have a look at this. So many people have said, have you seen this quite uncanny likeness between your chum and co-host, Mr. Simon Jordan, and the Ecuador coach, Sebastian Beccaceche? There he is. Now, Simon, everyone is trying to say this guy is a dead ringer. Maybe not so much for you today, but in the past, when you were the owner of Palace and those locks of yours were that bit longer, there is a likeness. Of that, there is no doubt. There is a likeness. I don't know if we've got a picture of Simon in bygone days. That would clinch it. But anyway, he's a good-looking boy. That's all you need to know.
No, I've seen the comparisons on social media. You know, I was back in the days when it was something for the ladies. But of course, what I did was I threw myself, like I did yesterday on a show with Piers. We had this soccer person who would put a curse on Harry Kane. I threw myself into an alternate personality to make sure that the outcomes for Scotland were getting worse and worse.
Oh, God. Well, you're not wrong there.
Jim, all we need to say is time's not been kind.
No, absolutely.
It's not been kind on the
Absolutely.
You know,
Dorian Gray in reverse. Dorian Gray in reverse.
Here's the thing, Stuart, you touched on it. The results for Scotland. A stunning last-minute win for Ecuador over Germany now puts Scotland on the brink. Scotland could be put out of their misery tonight, in actual fact, if Senegal beat Iraq. It's live on talkSPORT 2 from 8 tonight. Or, if that doesn't happen, in the early hours of Saturday morning, if Cape Verde draw or beat Saudi Arabia, also live on talkSPORT 2. This, Simon, has got the feeling, if you're Scottish, and you guys are observing it from distance, of death by 1,000 cuts, hasn't it?
Well, in essence, you've done it to yourselves in goal difference terms. So, you know, it looks like it's going the way that it's going. You know, I think that if you talk to people candidly, they will talk about the deficiencies in the Scottish team. You can make a production about Steve Clarke and his failure to communicate in the media the way people think he should have done. You can look at the negative approach to the tactics. You can look at the opposition and say, well, what else are you supposed to do against superior sides like Morocco and Brazil? But really and truly, when it comes down to it, as much as you want to distill it and sugarcoat it, the players aren't good enough to operate at this level to get outcomes that you would hope that they can get. Because we all know, joking to one side, and the rivalry that exists between the English and the Scots, the fans have been fantastic. They are a credit to themselves. They're a credit to a football tournament, and to some extent, possibly might deserve a little bit better. But you can't get blood out of a stone. If the players aren't good enough to operate at this level, you can do what you want, you can polish as many turds as you want, but you're not going to get an outcome that gets you the results that you want. So disappointingly, the opportunity against Haiti, now even if you'd have beaten them 2 or 3, it might not have sealed the deal.
Oh, that's right, Sam.
But it would have given you a better window and a better runway.
You're being very kind to Steve Clarke. This is 3 tournaments now where Scotland are going to go out with a whimper. The SFA took the bizarre decision to give him a 4-year contract before a ball had been kicked to this World Cup. He made a bad decision in terms of his team against Morocco. He then tried to reverse it by chasing the game against Brazil. You had championship defenders trying to play their way out from the back against a Real Madrid superstar. He's messed up another tournament, Steve Clarke.
That's individual choices. It's like talking to John Terry yesterday, saying to him, what do you do in a situation where you're a defender on the field and the ideology is to play out? What do? Do you take individual responsibility, or do you sit listening to what you think you should do, because that's what... You make individual choices. An individual choice at that level is to get the ball at your feet and get it gone. That player made a decision not to do it, and consequences are... I think it's unfair because, again, the argument is, I'm not defending Steve Clarke. I'm suggesting that, it's easy to fire people, so what's the alternative? Who's better to go into that job? Who's qualified Scotland for the World Cups and European Championships prior to his involvement? And what is the quality of play? You've got 2 or 3 players in that team that you could suggest are decent players that would get into a lot of other international frameworks. Other than that, what else they got? But
what does it say about Scotland if Cape Verde qualify and they don't? Well,
it says something about Cape Verde, nothing about Scotland. And it says about the groups that are in. Cape Verde are in a group. They've got 2 teams in their group that are inside the top 10 in world rankings, in Morocco and Brazil. So with respect, we can all batter them because it's easy to do and we can make fun of it and it's easy for us to do. But if you're going to be fair and objective,
true.
Look at the situation.
You're right, Simon.
You've got forwards. I mean, I'm sorry.
And they beat the nation they were hoping to beat.
I don't know what Lawrence Shankland is. If you want to have a go at people, have a go at some of their forwards because they're just simply not good enough.
Who picked those forwards ahead of Ollie McBurney?
Yeah, but if you're seriously suggesting to me that Ollie McBurney is the answer because he scores a goal in a playoff final in the Championship rather than perhaps Shea Adams or Lawrence Shankland that's been signed by Rangers, I think you're just nitpicking and saying whatever we haven't got is the reasons why we're being unsuccessful.
Sure, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? I mean, the players, the fans still out here, stuck in limbo land as they wait for the final fixtures to play out.
Yeah, I think before we come, if someone said to anyone in football, how do you think the Scotland results are going to pan out? You thought, well, they'll probably beat Haiti. They might get fortunate and nick a point against Morocco or a low-scoring defeat, and they'll get beat 2-3, 4-0 against Brazil. And it's exactly how it panned out.
Right.
The Steve Clarke issue and I normally back managers and whatever. I honestly think he could have done a bit more, a lot more in regard to pushing Scotland and proing Scotland up a little bit, because...
In what way?
Just the interviews, mate, have not...
No, they've been poor, we know that.
They've been really, really poor.
But is that the optic that we have to look at him through? Because really and truly, he could have done stinky interviews and got 4 points and got through and no one would have said anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So is it really just a case of he's a bit more rah-rah in the media? Is that what we are suggesting is the outcome for Scotland to come away from this tournament in?
Well, I think they've won so many people over in this country, the Scottish fans. We followed them into Boston to cover games, and all the people on the ground were talking about were the Scottish fans, and you think there's such a high there and just needed a bit more from the football team. And pre-game yesterday, the Germany-Ecuador game, we were talking about Scotland and saying where they are now. And I personally, I've always wanted Scotland to go as far as they can. They're going to go home with massive regrets now if they don't get another game.
For the 3rd tournament in a row.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the case because they've not left it all on the pitch. And then a couple of hours later, after talking about Scotland and leaving everything on the pitch, I watched Ecuador play man for man, bar a couple of examples. They were outclassed. But I tell you what, the work ethic that they put in, they just got the team and the fans over the line.
And does the team not reflect his manager? The fact he's putting across such dour messages in the media, does the team not represent that?
I mean, you also have to take... Again, you have to factor in opposition and their motivations. And I'm not giving Scotland a pass because I've been piling it on them for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Every day I'm in the studio with him. Ecuador are playing against an under-aroused Germany side that have very little to play for and we're looking to rotate. So, you've got to take the opposition into consideration.
Yeah, sure. Here's the thing, though, Simon. Alex mentioned the contract extension for Steve Clarke even before he came over to this part of the world. The Scottish FA, Simon, I mean... do they now face a decision over Clarke, or is it impossible for the SFA to renege and pivot off?
Well, they're not going to renege, are they?
What they've decided to do.
They won't renege. They'll have to meet their contractual obligations, and that will have a cost implication to it. But like everything else in football, as Stuart will attest to, it's very easy to fire people. It's much more difficult to replace them. So if you've got an alternative that's clearly better, that will come out of the ether and illustrate a way forward for Scotland, then by all means. It's the same argument. Listen, by the way, if we suddenly get through this group stages, which we will as England, and get pumped or knocked out, not pumped, but knocked out in the 32s or 16s, what's the conversation about Thomas Tuchel then?
Yes.
Because the conversation about Thomas Tuchel is clearly, I don't understand why these federations work this way, but this is a common phenomenon.
It is.
That awarding tournament managers contract extensions prior to tournaments. It makes no sense to me.
I think the only difference with Thomas Tuchel is I believe there's a clause in the contract if they don't go so far in the World Cup, they can pull back that deal.
Yeah.
So it's not really a contract.
Should we accept, as Scott Stewart, this is as good as it gets?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you should ever accept that. You know, not when you see, and I'll take Simon's point, they had a tough group, you know, two decent sides. Morocco are a decent side. Yeah. Brazil certainly are. But you expect more. You've got to expect more. If you don't, all of a sudden you're accepting mediocrity, and that's unacceptable for any nation or any football team. Or any
Stuart had a point there as well, Simon, and we mentioned this the other day. The Scots, sadly, are going to be remembered over here in the USA.
For their fans.
For the fans, and not for what they did in the football field. Having said that, did they hope to beat Haiti? Yes. Yeah. Might they find Morocco a step too far? Probably, but they might get something out of it. And Brazil was Brazil. So we're at where we maybe expected to be at, Alex.
Yeah, but we made the point, Simon made the point when we were last on together, what they don't want to do, Scotland, is play their way out in the early stages. They did it against Morocco, and they did it again against Brazil to a certain extent. Yeah. And, the fans have been terrific. My question, and you might not see it as important, I would do because I'm a journalist, the way that Steve Clarke has represented himself in the media, I think has been a poor representation of his players, and I think he's sold those fans a disservice.
I think that's right. I think there's an element of what you've just said which is fair. I'm not hugely concerned about the optics. I'm more looking about the man's job rather than his representation in the media. But we are in an entertainment business. But the irony of this world that we live in, the juxtapose, is you can play out from the back, get your team relegated and go and get the best job in one of the best jobs in world football in Bayern Munich. So this situation that we live in, this juxtapose, doesn't make sense, does it?
While you lot are sweltering back home in the UK, bit of a dull one here for us today in New York, 23 degrees. It's going to be cloudy all day, but still, it's New York. And New York is a magical place, I can assure you. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce and Alex Crook, and we are live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico Riley. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something in Ghana and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left-back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico will get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal. Yeah. I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. You know, he can dribble like a midfielder. You know, he's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? You're excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that you don't really, he scored against us last season, and he was great. But the price tag, well, silly money for footballers. You know what I mean? Is any footballer worth that amount of money? But looking at him in this World Cup, he looks the real deal to me. He's got a good engine. You know, he's forward thinking. He knows the league. He gets stuck in. You know, he's perfect for that. I mean, we need a midfield. And he's a perfect replacement for Bernardo. Do you know what I mean? Who also had a great engine, didn't mind getting stuck in. But I think it'd be a great signing if we get him.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Oh boy, if you're watching on YouTube and you had to be very quick, you'd have seen the window cleaners go by just outside the 50th floor of the World Trade Center here. Come to know these guys, maybe get to know them better next week. They might even take part in the show, what do you know? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce and Alex Crook. We are live in talkSPORT this Friday morning, Friday in New York, 26th of June. So we're really getting into this World Cup, aren't we? England looking good, they're looking all right. Scotland not looking all right. Scotland waiting to find out their own fate. Alex is alongside me, and I'm glad about that. And of course, we're about to talk about Stuart Pearce's former club, Nottingham Forest. Back home, Manchester City have agreed a £116 million deal to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fee, as you might have guessed, is the most ever paid for a British player and represents a new record for Manchester City. He's 23, Anderson, and has now been given permission to undertake a medical right here in New York today, with the deal subject to the finalising of personal terms. You would think that'll get done quick style. Alex, Elliot Anderson, this is a remarkable rise, isn't it?
Certainly is, when you think that he went from Newcastle to Forest for a relatively modest sum. I know Eddie Howe at the time didn't particularly want to cash in, but obviously they had issues with PSR.
Yep.
It's interesting, the figures. City side are saying 116 million. Forest side are saying actually it's nearer to 130 million. Either way, it's a record, as you say, for a British player, potentially a Premier League record fee, eclipsing what Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak this time last year. I was speaking to a couple of ex-players at the darts last night, and we were pondering, if Elliot Anderson is really a £130 million player, how much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Well, sure. He joined Forest, as Alex says, from Newcastle in a £35 million deal in 2023. So, not so long after that, we've now arrived at 116 million.
Well, brilliant business for Forest. If I'm going to my chairman and I'm going to buy him, let's say, I've got my Manchester City head on, and the figure's up near 130 million, I would be very uncomfortable paying that sort of money for him. I think he's got a lot of potential in front of him. As he stands at the moment, he's a very good player. Top quality, world class, 130 million, I'd be nervous, especially when you see, and it's no relevance whatsoever, but it'd be in the back of my mind, Calvin Phillips come and dropped.
Is he as good as Enzo Fernandez?
I would say probably not, but...
Is he even as good as Declan Rice?
No, but I think you're hoping he's got improvement. You're hoping if he can go from what he's delivered at Newcastle to what he's delivered at Forest, if he can replicate that improvement again over the next year or two, it's a great sign.
I'll tell you what it does do, Jim. It completely skews the market, doesn't it? If you're Newcastle and you've got people interested in Sandro Tonali, you're going to use that as a benchmark, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you've got to factor in the ownership of Man City. That kind of money falls out of their pocket on the way to the game. So it's not a benchmark for the industry. It's a benchmark for this transaction. Newcastle should be in for a nice sell-on clause.
No sell-on.
No sell-on.
No sell-on.
They had no sell-on on Elliot Anderson. Wow, that's a rarity. Blimey. I mean, I remember talking to Eddie Howe when we were up there, myself and Luke, about 18 months ago, talking to him on another one up front, and he was very upset about selling Elliot Anderson. He was very frustrated. This is the problem for clubs like Newcastle. This player has been sold to Nottingham Forest because Newcastle could no longer push forward in their ambition to be a successful football club because the window has closed. It closed behind Manchester City. So the clubs that are in that situation now that can monetise themselves and have monetised themselves are there.
Yeah.
Newcastle have to sell. So a player like Elliot Anderson that could have been a stalwart for Newcastle building their ambitions to be a successful club was shuffled out the door at what most would consider now, with the benefit of hindsight, as a discounted fee without a sell-on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bizarre, isn't it? Some people are finding it hard to understand where Elliot Anderson will fit in at Manchester City as things stand right now. One of those was Kyle Walker on Drive last week. Have a listen.
About Rodri. This is the Ballon d'Or winner we're talking about here. Can you fit both of them in the team? Is City going to really play with two holding midfielders? Is Anderson going to want to go further forward? Is Rodri going to want to go further forward? So, listen, it's a good predicament to be in. But for me, you know, I always think you kind of keep the squad as happy as you can do. And I know Rodri personally. And if someone comes in at £130 million, you're going to want to play football.
Yeah.
So is that going to ruffle a few feathers? Hopefully not, because for Manchester City, they need depth in the squad.
So that was Kyle Walker on Drive. Here's the thing, Alex. Rice, Anderson, Rodgers. How have England accumulated a collection of £100 million midfielders? How's this happened?
Well, you can chuck Jude Bellingham in there as well, can't you? It's a nice position for Thomas Tuchel to be in, to have all these top midfielders to choose from. I'd chuck Kobbie Mainoo in potentially as well. And again, if you're making reasons that England should go deep into the draw, I think that midfield is going to be very crucial to it.
I mean, all of a sudden, Simon, the picture, Manchester City carry on where others would love to be.
Maybe. They've got a new manager in, so he's got to carry on. He's got to lift a very heavy cudgel because he's following in from an elite manager. I would imagine that they'll sell Rodri. So I don't know why Kyle Walker can't work that out for himself, that's a logical solution. That Rodri will probably be going out the door, and that's where Elliot Anderson... This embarrassment of riches in the middle of the park is great, but we want players also that can have clever passes in them. Yeah. And one of the things that we didn't see on the game against Ghana was... I like Declan Rice. I think he's a hell of a player. But when it comes to clever passes and opening up teams and moving the ball fast and having that little pass that does something different, whether it's a Pirlo-esque sort of pass or whether it's something that Cole Palmer could have done. I'm not advocating Cole Palmer being on the side, but I think that what Declan did was sideways and back in that game again. And that's not good enough.
Yeah.
When we talk about £100 million footballers, are we talking about just athletes now that can burst up the field and do and carry the game forward? But when it comes to cleverness, you just said Morgan Rodgers, you've talked about Elliot Anderson, and we've talked about one other, we've got Adam Walton in the mix as well, of players that are very clever in that position in terms of they're very good at occupying certain roles. But where's this wonderful player that opens things up through the eye of a needle?
Okay.
I don't think we've got it.
We've got to mention this before we hit the break at 1:30. Alex, Simon, you no doubt will come in this. There's Paul, and one of many asking this question, Simon. So City are going to break the record with 130 million quid, whatever. What is happening? You know what's coming. With 115 charges, it still needs to be concluded one way or the other.
Of course it does.
And City crack on regardless.
Well, they have to, don't they? Because at this moment in time, like many other things in life, like even the discussion about a player appearing at this World Cup, you aren't guilty of anything until you've been formally found guilty. Now, I think the whole of football is an existential threat with this situation, because if Man City get found guilty, I think there is... You think what Burnley have just done to Everton is the beginning of something, not the end of it. And if City get done then there's going to be, I think that they won't, because I think there's a whole raft of reasons why they won't, and they'll say it's because we're innocent. Well, let's put that to one side. I think there's a whole raft of other reasons why they might not as well. But the fact is, if they start doing that in that situation, it'll unwind so much. And if I'm Nick DeMarco and lawyers, I'm sitting there going, I've got a new yacht coming.
Is it not bordering on embarrassing, though, for the Premier League? This has gone on for so long now.
Of course it is. You don't engage a panel without a remit, and you don't go to the panel and say, look, here's the job, here's the task in hand, here's the requirement of the panel. We need you to come to an adjudication within X amount of time. That's a standard form. And if you're too busy and haven't got the time to do it, then we don't engage you to be on the panel.
Yeah. And of course, Manchester City continue to deny any wrongdoing throughout this entire lengthy process. It's 8:30 in the morning here in New York, 1:30 with you back in a sweltering UK, and we're live in talkSPORT.
Our big players aren't like rising to the occasion, and Darren, you'll know this more than me, but I was sitting pitch side melting tonight. The conditions were horrific, like the humidity was stifling. You know that way you're taking a breath in and there's no fresh air around you. It's hard work. And when Andy Robertson came off at half time, he walked right past me and he looked like he was laboured. He looked like it was like, you know, the end of a horse race, and you know, you could see his like side going and stuff. He was really struggling, and then he didn't come back on, you know. So there was a number of factors to come into it. I think the weather might have caused us an issue. It was blooming hot, really hot. We're not built for this madness.
No, we're certainly not. Just quickly, I heard you were a bit unhappy with Steve Clarke, some of his exchanges with reporters post-match.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, who do you think you are? Do you think you're Pep? Because you're not. You know, we've not been at a World Cup since 1998, and it's incredible that we're there. And it's down to Steve Clarke. So I get that he's done his bit, but I think that's last week it happened after Morocco to somebody I've known for a long time. You know, you come off and you storm off from somebody like that when they've got their job to do and you've got your job to do. And then 6 days later, you do the same thing again. You know, don't not have to. Don't understand why we have to do this. We shouldn't have to do this. Well, you do have to do this. So front into it, because a lot of people have spent a lot of money being here, following this team, representing Scotland the best they can all over the world. Everybody's loving them, and then you're our guy, you're our gaffer, and you come out and you can't even just suit up for a moment and front into.
It's one of the most infamous moments in World Cup history. Zidane's headbutt on Marco Materazzi in the 2006 final sent shockwaves through the footballing world. It wasn't a particularly ill-tempered final. Argentinian ref Horacio Elizondo had only shown 3 yellow cards until this point in extra time. Zidane and Materazzi had been the main protagonists of the match so far. Materazzi committed the foul for the penalty, which Zidane scored after 7 minutes. Then 12 minutes later, Materazzi equalised from a corner. Materazzi said in the 2020 interview he was asked at half-time to man-mark Zidane. So they'd been literally rubbing each other up the wrong way for more than an hour before the tension boiled over in extra time. Some reports suggested Materazzi had insulted Zidane's mother, but he successfully refuted that in a libel case 2 years later. According to the Italian, Zidane started it with a little insult, saying, "I'll give you my shirt later." Then he responded by saying, "I'd rather have your sister than your shirt." And Zidane switched. In 2022, he said, "I'm not at all proud of what I did, but it's part of my past." But would he apologise? To his teammates and fans, yes. But to Materazzi? I'd rather die.
Non, je ne regrette rien.
Good morning from New York. Good afternoon back home. 1:30 on a Friday afternoon back in the UK. 8:30 with us here in New York City. Alex Crook, my colleague at talkSPORT, is alongside Stuart Pearce, England legend, Mr. Pearce. Delighted he's with us in studio this morning. Simon alongside us as well. So much going on back home. I'm going to get to Craig Bellamy in a second. Alex, I want to touch on a couple of things. Lucas Bergvall, the youngster with a big future at Tottenham, said to be on his way out of Tottenham. If indeed Elliot Anderson passes a medical here in New York City today and goes to Manchester City for something in the region of 116 million, is Lucas Bergvall the right kind of replacement for Stuart's former club Forest?
Well, certainly in Forest's eyes. I think he is the main candidate to fill that void. We reported a few days ago that Bergvall wanted out of Spurs. I think mainly because he's concerned at a lack of game time. Obviously, they're trying to strengthen their midfield in the form of Sandro Tonali and potentially Mateus Fernandes as well. I think he's a really good young player, Lucas Bergvall. I'd be interested to see the fee. I think Tottenham would command significant money, particularly now they know that Forest have got 130 million quid burning a hole in their pocket. But yeah, I think he's a good player, Bergvall. I think he'll be a decent signing.
I'm not convinced about him, I've got to say. And if you're going to play a top premium, because that money's just come in, Forest are building a new stand next year, so I don't know whether this money will be generated to put that up or not. But for me, I wouldn't be paying big money for Bergvall.
What's the problem with him, Stuart?
I'm not been convinced about him. He's been in and out of Tottenham's team. Tottenham had a good look at him for a couple of years and decided they want to move him on. That sends a message, potentially. I'm not sure.
One move we spoke about yesterday, Simon, now appears to be off. Craig Bellamy, of course, manager of the Welsh, seemingly back to Burnley, where he operated under Vincent Kompany in the past. That move now said to be off, and he's now back to being committed to the Welsh. But he was all set to join Burnley from Wales before the move collapsed yesterday, Alex. Where are you at with that one? Do the Welsh fans welcome Craig Bellamy back with open arms?
Listen, it's not necessarily a barometer, but if you look at social media, the Welsh fans are deeply unhappy that he was flirting with Burnley, and it seems like it's Burnley's decision and not his to pull the plug on this deal, mainly because he can't get the backroom staff that he wanted. Andrew Cross, for example, part of his backroom team at Wales, but also a senior coach at Brighton, decided he'd rather stay there than go and maybe assist him at Burnley. I think he's going to have to do a little bit of grovelling to those Wales fans because it was pretty clear he wanted out.
That's true, wasn't it, Simon? I mean, he was making all sorts of noises.
I mean, I don't know if he was or not. I mean, prima facie, we're representing it as that it was Burnley's decision. I mean, it's not unreasonable for a manager coming into a club to bring his own resource with him. So that being a stumbling block is surprising, given the fact that Burnley have aspirations of getting back to the Premier League.
No, but it was more that he couldn't get the coaching staff that he wanted. Should he not have had that in place already?
He couldn't get it, or Burnley wouldn't permit it.
He couldn't get it. Andrew Cross didn't want to leave Brighton and go to Burnley.
OK. Again, you know, I find it strange that Craig would have been, and I like Craig a lot, would have been so forthright. And I thought brilliant in his observations about the opportunity that was afforded him by the Welsh FA and how he appreciated it and how he valued it and how they'd taken a chance with him and he owed them a debt. So it does feel strange. It feels like a bipolar moment to have gone the polar opposite way and gone down the route of Burnley.
Yeah.
So Craig's got to manage that situation. I think he's done a lot of good things for Welsh football in terms of stopping people to perceive them as a second-class citizen. In the end, they didn't qualify, so how far you went with that brouhaha.
Right.
I think it was probably better than a load of old pony had to listen for Michael Sheen in the Welsh dressing room before they played England and went out with a fart. But look, I think Bellamy can manage what social media thinks.
I think if you've been courted by a football club and you've got an interest like Bellamy, you want your coaching staff to come in with you. But if you can't get them, it wouldn't stop me getting the job. You just get another coaching staff to come in.
You'd press on anyway.
Well, if you've been courted enough to turn around and say, that appeals to me, it wouldn't put me off. I'd be a little bit disappointed I couldn't get the exact individual.
You'd back yourself,
You'd back yourself.
Yeah.
And you work with other people.
Is that what Ange did when he joined Tottenham? Went in there virtually on his own.
Oh, so it would seem.
Yeah. The owner at Bournemouth as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, that then throws, a sort of an alternate view into the equation. We are painting Craig into a corner on the supposition which is wonderful. One of the things about this industry, two biggest commodities of gossip and money, that he was courting this job and only didn't take it because he couldn't get his backroom staff, which he didn't have in the first place. Now, does it strike you, because it doesn't strike me, that Bellamy has a problem backing himself? In every walk of life that Craig Bellamy's popped up in, whether it's being outspoken in the Newcastle dressing room or moving between some of the biggest clubs in English football, he's always backed himself.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that there might be a little bit of gravy on this conversation.
Yeah.
But Craig now will manage the Welsh situation and try to turn it away from the argument that he's only staying there because the alternative didn't come for him.
Right.
If you were his boss, though, Simon, how would you feel? I mean, the Welsh FA was so convinced that he was going to leave.
I'd be close
I know
to
they
it.
approached at least 2 candidates to take over.
Yeah, well, given the candidates that you told me they've approached, they've had a narrow escape.
Let's not go there. We will touch on Newcastle in a second. Alex, I just want to touch on this with Hearts. Since Hearts came so close but missed out on the Scottish Premier League title up there towards the very end, the last day of the season, when Celtic and Martin O'Neill won it in such style. It's been a bit of an uphill struggle for Hearts since then. Derek McInnes goes to Rangers. Before that, Lawrence Shankland, striker, went to Rangers. Hearts have now appointed Wouter Vankeren as their new head coach. Belgian replaces McInnes. Vankeren led St Truiden to 3rd place in the Belgian Pro League last season. So I think a bunch of Hearts fans are up there thinking, all right, well, just need to make the most of it here with this fellow. We don't know much about him. I'm presuming, I don't. Maybe they do, but I don't.
Well, we didn't know much about Fabian Hürzeler when Tony Bloom appointed him at Brighton.
True.
I would put my faith in Tony Bloom. He does it with the analytics. He did it with Hearts last season, got them so close to winning the title. If I was a Hearts fan, I would have 100% faith in Tony Bloom.
Yeah.
That's a fair observation. I mean, the Belgian coaches are now the vogue, aren't they? We've got the boy at Sunderland that no one had ever heard of, that people were probably been scratching their heads when he walked in the door, and now he's taken Sunderland from out of the League One, out of the Championship, into the Premier League, and done really well.
Yeah, and I know you enjoyed your time at Newcastle, Stuart, but I wonder if Newcastle fans are scratching their heads. No European football now turning out for Newcastle to be a problem in terms of them managing to hold on to their best players. It's likely Tonali will go. It's likely Tottenham are back in with an improved bid. Newcastle sources, Alex, you'll know this, claim Bruno Guimaraes not for sale. Yet reports yesterday claim Arsenal have opened talks with his representatives. And only a few weeks ago, and you might want to tune into this, Eddie Howe was fielding stories about, well, hang on, Bruno is being linked with a move away. On this occasion, Manchester United. What is your take on it, Eddie? What's going on at your club? This was Eddie Howe.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't even think I should, because it's wasting my energy. Bruno's our captain. He's fully committed. He's injured at the moment. His only focus is coming back to fitness. For me, it's a nonsense story. Unwanted news, I suppose, is the best way to put it. You don't want your players distracted. I don't know how much they'll absorb that, but for me, it's not the time to think about that. In the summer, you can sort of understand those stories a little bit more because the transfer window's open. But to say our captain's in discussions with another club, I think is totally disrespectful to Bruno more than anybody else. He's totally committed here.
Only if it's not true.
Well, that was Eddie then. That was a few weeks ago. Bruno Guimaraes, of course, is out here in the US playing for Brazil in this World Cup. And the place is awash with transfer talk, as you might expect. What's going on at Newcastle, Alex? The fans must be scratching their heads.
Well, it feels a little bit like with the last one out of St James's Park, please turn off the lights, doesn't it? Because obviously Anthony Gordon has gone. Tino Livramento would like to leave, as I understand it. Tonali's pushing for that exit. And I think a lot of this for Bruno Guimaraes is trying to get himself a big money new contract, but it's not an ideal situation for Newcastle. They had a really tough summer of it last year, particularly with the Isak's situation. Their recruitment wasn't brilliant, had an underwhelming season in the Premier League. A lot of their fans turned on Eddie Howe towards the end. All I would say to them is be careful what you wish for, because I'm not really too sure with the resources that he's given what more Eddie Howe could have done over the last few years.
What are you smirking at?
I just smirking at his affection for Eddie Howe from the days back in Bournemouth that I suspect will compromise some of the objectivity.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, Newcastle are in an invidious position, aren't they? They are a club that a lot of players would have signed to on the vision of an opportunity, and that vision is not being pushed by the ownership for whatever reason, whether the Saudis have shot their bolt.
They get a free pass, by the way, because they blame PSR. I would ask the question, how committed are the Saudis? Are they as committed as when they first came into the project?
That's a question. Yeah. I mean, we are talking about people that have huge wealth. And so the idea that they would hide behind PSR as an opportunity not to build, what is the purpose? I mean, I think they'll sell Newcastle. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah.
But
do you believe that Bruno Guimaraes is not for sale?
I don't know what Eddie's talking about as far as disrespect is concerned. This industry is founded on disrespect in terms of players doing precisely what they want. So he probably is doing exactly what Eddie says he's not doing.
Yeah. And we always hear, Stuart, everyone's for sale. Every club's up for sale. Every player is for sale.
It's factual. That's what it is. This is the modern day world that we live in with football. Everyone's up for sale. I find it quite sad for Newcastle because Newcastle on the up, and I've got a connection with the club years ago. And when I first joined the club, they were in the Champions League, finishing second in the league. You thought a few years ago they're on the cusp of big things, growing the club, European football on a regular basis. I like Eddie Howe. I'm like Crookie, a big fan, you know, and you just want to see them keep growing, but they seem to have stumbled at the moment, you know, and they need to rekindle that excitement again.
Mr. Crook, I believe you leave us at this stage in the proceedings.
I'm off.
But I want to thank you for getting out your scratcher early for us. Your colleague and my colleague, Sam Matterface, is going to be joining us very shortly. And he's been everywhere. We've been in New York, and we've been very happy about that. But how would you fancy Orlando, San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, and back to New York? Sam's going to join us out of breath very shortly. We're live in New York City on this Friday morning here, Friday afternoon with you back home in a sweltering UK.
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
he's a better striker, number 9.
Do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. Like, so I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's scored 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched it, you would have watched him. R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9, for me, that's my hero. You know, he is... That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him, and Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent, yeah? And Ronaldo, it's all about numbers and goal scoring, and he's obsessed with that, and that makes him so good. But R9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
As a footballer, so
you
much
both
more
agree with
natural.
me on that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer. Yeah. Now, you can't compare the numbers because Ronaldo's numbers are crazy.
You know what I mean? Like a better player.
He's a better player. Yeah. He's a better player. He's the things that he used to do, picking up the ball and dribbling, the goals that he scored for Barcelona. Oh my God! If he didn't injure himself with it.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Okay, time to look ahead to the day with talkSPORT Bet and their ambassador. Ryan Douglas is in studio with Simon Stewart and myself. Ryan, before we go any further, were you as bemused as I was at the baseball last night, mate?
Yeah.
I looked at your expression now and again and I was thinking, he's the same as me. We've no idea what's going on.
I know. I was out of my depth a little bit. I think it was about an hour and a half in, I turned to him and I said, what's the score? I had absolutely no idea what was going on. But it was a spectacle. They know how to put on a show, don't they, Jim?
Brilliant. It is. I mean, that is the family occasion in American sport, Simon. Everywhere you look.
Did you have any food? Did you have corn dogs?
We sure did.
Oh, we did.
Well, Bill, who's made us very welcome here at the World Trade Center, had us in a beautiful box.
He did.
With some of New York's finest. So we enjoyed ourselves immensely. Bill, I know you're at home this morning, and I think you're going to be watching live on YouTube. Thank you for last night. It was great. I had 2 milkshakes, too many. Here's the thing, Ryan. Let's get into it. In the company of Messrs. Jordan and Pierce, Scotland. Where are we at with it?
I know, and as I say here, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. That's what I'm going to do, because yesterday I was talking about what the odds were for Scotland to qualify. Yesterday it was 5-2. Today, Jim, I'm sorry to say, it's 16-1. So I thought we would have a little bit of fun, and I'll compare what else is 16-1 in the betting. So 16-1 is Mexico to reach the final. It's Anthony Gordon to outscore Harry Kane at this point in the tournament. It's Marcus Rashford to sign for Arsenal. So I'll let you decide, Jim, whether you're in good company there. But at the moment, Scotland are 16-1 to qualify for the knockout rounds, I'm sorry to say.
I mean, they're on the brink, Simon. One more little nudge, and they've gone. It is. We said earlier on, Ryan, death by 1,000 cuts. That's exactly what it is, isn't it?
Well, the manager has already sort of thrown the towel in, hasn't he? Because he's already suggested that he thinks it's done. It's a sad position to be in terms of relying on other people. I mean, it's a delightful position to be if you're English, because you can sit there and
gloat.
Yeah. And I don't see Rod Stewart back on. Rod not back on today? No. OK. Look, as we've discussed endlessly and repeatedly, the Scottish fans have done their nation proud. I mean, every time when I've sat on this show, taking a mickey out of the Scots forever and a day.
Have you? I haven't noticed.
But my point is, because you're anaesthetised to it, because you know that you deserve it. But the point is that when you say anything derogatory, or not even derogatory, fair about an opposition in domestic football, the fans take great exception. I talk about Man City. If I say something complimentary, then people like you. If you say something derogatory, they don't. But I've said lots of derogatory things about Scotland, which have been absolutely seeded in fact. And when I bump into Scotland fans, they're always quite nice.
Yeah.
So I have to
Which
say,
says more about
like
them than you.
I like them.
No, they have been. I've been in your company. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, Stuart.
Yeah, and it's a tough one. I see it from sort of player-manager point of view, if you like, and they're sat in the dentist's waiting room at the moment. They don't know if they've got another game, if they're on holiday, the players, where the next game's going to be. They might even have to wait until Saturday evening to find out their fate.
The dentist's waiting room.
I like that.
How's a dentist's waiting room a good analogy? Would you wait to go in and get drilled?
I think that
exactly they are.
Well, they want to be put out of the pain that they're suffering at the moment.
OK, that's
the vets scene,
OK, well done.
There you go.
Put down at the vets.
There you go.
Neutered.
Live on talkSPORT today. Norway, France, what are you thinking there? I bumped into some Norway fans who think, we've got Haaland, we can do no wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Ryan?
That's what it's all about, and it's been the tournament of the big players, thankfully. That's why I think it has been a good tournament up until this point. Haaland versus Mbappe Day, that's what we're calling it. So talkSPORT Bet, we're going to super boost Mbappe to have 2 shots on target and Haaland to have 1 shot on target. So they don't even need to hit the back of the net with a super boost. And that's gone all the way to 7-4. So that's what we're doing today. I was having a lot of fun with everyone in Times Square, with all the fans yesterday, and I was saying, who would you rather play for your nation out of the 2 of them? I know that's very talkSPORT coded, that question, very hypothetical. But who would you rather play for England, Stuart? Mbappe or Haaland? Who would you get, if you could?
Well, I think I'd take Haaland.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, can I ask why over Mbappe?
I think he's got more longevity, and I like his strength and mentality.
Yeah.
Haaland, I think he's got that inner mentality and strength in him.
I like that. Good answer, Stuart.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go with this?
Well, given I think that Haaland's a rude, unpleasant little toad, I would go down the route of Mbappe.
Yeah. We'll take that.
Because of the one occasion in Spain when he's playing paddle tennis, Stuart, and he's sitting there with Alpha Inga Haaland, and he thought, and Erling comes over and says to Simon, "You must stop taking my photograph." He wasn't. I mean, you get your beef up. You were saying, "I'm not trying to photograph you." He thought your phone was out and you were trying to have a picture of him.
With the risk of name dropping, I was playing paddle on a court next to that little twit, and.
Like it.
Take a picture of
There
you,
we
little
go.
twerp.
So you weren't taking his picture?
No, I weren't, mate. Why would I want a picture of that hideous-looking twerp?
So I'm playing.
Keep my kids away from the fireplace.
Not that I'm going to name drop Simon. I love that. So I'm playing paddle tennis.
But it's true.
I got a text message from the Sultan of Brunei, and then Nasser Al Khelafi came from stage left.
Oh, that's all right.
And I finished off
all right,
Erling Haaland.
all right when I'm getting your tickets from Nasser for games, though, isn't it?
There you go. Ryan, let's
glad
talk,
I asked.
in the very short amount of time we have left.
Yeah.
England.
Yeah, I know. Just to brief, I won't preview the game, but I will tell you they're still second favourites. They're at 5-1. They find themselves. France are the favourites, and Spain are third in the betting. I don't know if I look at England right now and see them as second favourites, Stuart. I'll be honest with you, but that's where they are in the betting. If they stink the gaff out against Panama tomorrow, is that a problem, or do they just need to,
I think we all want a decent performance. Can I ask you this question? Will England's chances differ if they go to the other side of the draw by finishing second in the group?
Yeah, it will affect the betting. Yeah, for sure.
For the better or for the worse?
Oh, I can't tell you. That I can't tell you because I'd be lying. But it certainly would affect the betting, for sure.
Ryan, we will be seeing you tomorrow morning in this very studio.
I'm back. Yeah.
Because shock news, Jim White and Simon Jordan will be coming to you live at this time tomorrow. As we look ahead to England, Panama, and Ryan will be with us. That was a look ahead at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Listen, I love him, and people have asked me would I take him at Arsenal 100%. But you look at the last two seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last two seasons for PSG, the two Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out, they win back to back. It just doesn't look well. On Mbappe, does it?
You could say that he's responsible for that, but in the meantime, when you see what Luis Enrique, the Paris Saint-Germain manager, has changed, the way the team has changed, the unity, everybody is playing for each other, they're fighting for each other, on the pitch. And that's why, in every team they have met, they're beating because of that. They have the quality, but they show, real mentality, unity all together, the togetherness, But Kylian Mbappe, I think I won't be the guy who will say that he's the one responsible for the mess at Madrid. I think if you have Mbappe in your team, you are in a good position to win something. It depends as well of other players. The ego of players, in Madrid is so huge and devastating. In the dressing room.
Is he the best player on the planet?
Actually,
yeah.
I won't say that. He's one of them.
Who is?
This season, or you're saying
right now? If you're going to maybe write a list.
1 minute past 2, good afternoon. Elliot Anderson has been given permission to have his Man City medical in the USA. A fee has been agreed. City say it's 116 million. Forest claim it's closer to a British record, breaking 130 million. Here's Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent.
How much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Stuart Pearce says he'd be very nervous about paying that amount of money for Anderson, but says it has potential to still be of value.
Is he even as good as Declan Rice?
No, but I think you're hoping he's got improvement. You're hoping if he can go from what he's delivered at Newcastle to what he's delivered at Forest, if he can replicate that improvement again over the next year or two, it's a great sign.
So England now have a number of midfielders valued over £100 million, but Simon Jordan thinks a certain type of midfielder is still lacking in the current squad.
I'm not advocating Cole Palmer being in the side, but I think that what Declan did was sideways and back in that game again. And that's not good enough.
Yeah.
When we talk about £100 million footballers, are we talking about just athletes now that can burst up the field?
Speaking of bursting up the field, to Trent Bridge, Ben Stokes has done a Ben Stokes and got England back in the contest, but still quite a bit of work to do with the ball. Sam Ellard.
Yeah, England looking to wrap up the New Zealand innings after lunch on day 2 of the decider. 432 for 7, 3 wickets in the morning session, and Mitchell giving out caught behind off Ben Stokes. Then O'Rourke, the night watchman, skying Stokes to Gay without adding to his score after he was dropped on 19. And then a short ball from Stokes got Santner early on in his innings. So Ben Stokes with all 3 wickets in the morning session. He's got 4 in the match on his return. It's Jofra Archer and Shoaib Bashir bowling after lunch. And there's a drop there. Shoaib Bashir at deep backward square leg, dropping Blundell on 28, pulling a short ball off Jofra Archer. A lifeline for Blundell. He's with Smith at the crease. New Zealand 433 for 7.
Thank you, Sam. Blundell is that key wicket, and Britain's Jack Draper's been handed a tough draw on his Wimbledon return. He'll face Taylor Fritz, the former semi-finalist and 6th seed in round 1. Serena Williams will make her 7-year return to the singles with a first-round match against Australian Maya Joint.
talkSPORT News.
Henry Novak's murderer's lies have finally been revealed, and Andrew Tate has been told he won't find out the identity of his accusers. Find out more with Toby at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Rain and thunderstorms with hail and gusty winds in Scotland. Elsewhere, remaining dry and sunny. Extreme heat in eastern England. Temperatures dropping in the west.
Okay, 4 minutes past 2 with you on a Friday afternoon back in the UK, here in New York. And if you're watching live on YouTube, there it is. Wow. The sight, you never get tired of looking at it. The Statue of Liberty, Staten Island, just out there in the Hudson. Another relatively nice morning here in New York City. A bit overcast, but it's still very warm. Not as warm as it is with you guys back home in the UK. Unbelievable temperatures there. So we send our very best to everybody back in the United Kingdom. Of course, here in the United States, England go in again tomorrow night, this time against Panama. Should be job done for England, and they will, as everybody expected, will progress with relative ease from their group. Not so Scotland. We're still standing and waiting and wondering, but also got an eye on the airport to head back home to Scotland or wherever the players are heading to. Here is a fellow who's been here, there and everywhere, as I mentioned earlier on. Alongside Stuart and alongside Simon and myself here at the World Trade Centre, it's a big welcome to Sam Matterface, talkSPORT and ITV commentator. Sam, how have you done it, mate? Your passport must be... well, you don't need a passport because you've been travelling internally here in the US. Orlando, San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Philly, New York, Atlanta and back to New York. You're out of breath.
It's been absolutely fantastic. We've been so lucky to go so many different places. It has been a bit of a whirlwind tour. But, you know, some of the cities that we've seen, some of the places we've been. We went to San Francisco to start the World Cup journey. We were with England in Florida, as Stuart was as well. And we left after a day of torrential rain where a pitch was flooded and we had an hour's delay, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we went straight over to Santa Clara where it was 35-degree heat. Our first game in the World Cup was Qatar, Switzerland. The sun was burning down. It was midday. You couldn't see any of the monitors. The equipment was overheating. Our sound engineer was looking like a Teletubby because he was wearing a sun hoodie to keep all the heat off of him. But it was just brilliant. Such a vast country, so many different experiences. And I must say, I can't believe how much it's taken off. Every bar you go in is the Fox Sports showing all the football over and over and over again. It's non-stop, and people are really buying into it. I think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, they certainly bought into it last night, didn't they, with the USA in action? Yeah. But they lost to Turkey. How has World Cup fever, Sam, differed, if you like, city to city, even state to state?
Yeah, do you know what? When we first got here, I thought it was a little bit sort of, you know, is there a big event happening? It took a little while to catch on. I think by the time we got to sort of Dallas and then went to Philadelphia, when we went to Philadelphia for Brazil-Haiti, I mean, the colour, the sound, the city was absolutely awash with Cape Verdean supporters and Brazilians. And when we went to Lincoln Field that night, the stadium itself was yellow and blue everywhere. It was just absolutely fantastic. But like I say, you know, I think the TV coverage has been really good. The fact that they've got Zlatan and Thierry Henry on almost back-to-back every single day, I think it's attracted a lot of people. And, you know, everyone's talking about it. So you go anyway. I mean, you would have had it when you went to the baseball.
Yeah.
You know, you sit next to someone, the first thing they say to you, are you here for the soccer?
That's right.
You're like, yep.
That's right.
I think the Americans and the Canadians doing quite well, and the Mexicans. All the host countries have started well, all got out the group, and I think that's generated and fueled the excitement as well on the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. It's grown here in New York, but by and large, when we arrived, Sam, New Yorkers are like, and we went out onto the streets. I remember we did some street interviews. And we wish you well with the World Cup, but really we've got our own thing going on here, and that was in New York Knicks.
At the time, wasn't it?
Yeah. When I almost get lifted.
Impersonating a presenter.
Oh, very good. No, come on. Fair's fair.
He was found not guilty of those charges.
So here we go. Let's get into it, because we're not exactly going to be finding Scotland to dominate the conversation today for various reasons. England, Sam, under Thomas Tuchel. Can you make any hard and fast judgments 2 games in?
Not really. And I think that anyone that tells you that they can, you know, then they know what's going to happen with England's probably not giving you the full picture. I think the first game they played against Croatia, I thought they were very good in a spell after half-time where they were actually superb. 20 minutes, fantastic. Came out of the traps. They've got an absolute rollicking at half-time, and they came out and proved what they can do. I think before that they played in spurts. There was a couple of good moments, but they were a little bit too open. I thought, and I must admit, you know, I was having a conversation before the game, and I did think it was going to go like that, the Ghana match. And the Ghana match was what England struggle with, which is low blocks, very deep blocks, hard physical defenders who make it very difficult for them to find any room, and that's how it panned out. And look, Ghana nicked a winner against Panama, and the minute that happened in that game, their first game, I thought, that makes it difficult for England, because Ghana then only need a point to qualify, so they will sit in and they'll make it hard for them, and they did. I think in the next round, England are a team that I think more built to play better opposition, because they believe that the way to go deeper into the competition is to beat better sides.
Right.
So they'll be a little bit more open. They bypassed the midfield in that game against Croatia, and I think that that's what they'll do when they come up against, you know, more high-tariff opponents.
What do you expect, Stuart? England up against Panama tomorrow. What do you think they're going to face in Panama?
More of the same against Ghana, I would think. They'll dominate the ball, and they'll be against a team that are going to defend deep and make it very difficult for them. I would think if I was the Panama team and seen what Ghana had done to England, that's exactly what I would be doing. I personally think that in hindsight, after the second game, we got it wrong with O'Reilly, because I think he was the one that goes and overloads midfield and overloads the box, and he would have caused them a problem, Ghana more of a problem. When he come on, I thought he was very good.
Do you think they moved the ball quick enough?
No.
Because I think when you're in the front of that low block, you've got to really fizz it around and try and move them around a little bit. I'm not sure that they did that.
Yeah, and key to that, I think, the two centre-halves, but also probably Deck and Elliot Anderson. I think their responsibility is to move the ball from left to right and through the lines a little bit quicker, I think.
Yeah. Panama aren't a bad team, though, Jim. You know, I mean, they're not a great team. They're already going to go home. We all understand that they're only here for 3 games and that's it. They've never won a World Cup game. But they beat the USA in each of the last 3 years and in major competitions as well. It was the Gold Cup in 2023, the Copa America and the Nations League. They're a strong physical side and they'll do their best just to disrupt.
There is a conversation going on about Marcus Rashford. Simon, you had your view yesterday when John Terry was in here as to if and when Marcus Rashford should feature for England. This was John Terry on that one.
Yeah, and I've spoken about this. I think Rashford and Saka have to be our starters for me. And I think Gordon and Madueke coming on are kind of impact players. And also, when you get players that are kind of right-footed playing on the left, he comes inside. You often get an overtaking fullback in O'Reilly. He does that way more than Spence. Spence didn't do it enough, which then causes problems for the Ghanaian defence. When you start pulling teams apart, when it's slow ball movement across the midfield and it goes from one side to another defensively, it's really easy to shift and stay in your positions and stay compact.
Yeah.
As soon as that ball's shifted and moved out quicker and you get overlaps, all of a sudden a right side centre half gets pulled out in an area where you don't want to be. There's gaps in between you and the next centre half if the midfielder doesn't track the runner from Jude and players like that. So movement was a lack of for me. And also, I just think our options, like we bring O'Reilly on, he gets the header in the box late on. You start putting bodies in the box against these low defensive block teams. Like it was calling out for Tony to come on for me, get more bodies in the box because we had players come on, put more crosses in the box. Saka come on and made an impact, I thought. But I just think Saka and Rashford has to start.
He's got to take the skipper off if he does.
So that was John Terry sitting exactly where Sam is this morning. This clamour for Rashford, you've got a view in that, haven't you?
Well, I just don't remember the last time Rashford started the game for England was particularly impactful. It's always the way, whatever you haven't got is what you cry out for when you don't get the outcomes that you want. The main thrust of England's game was they didn't fizz the ball around. If you move the ball quickly, you move people around. And it was interesting that they put Saka on, which I think makes a lot of difference when he comes on because he's a clever player, he creates outcomes. And the numbers that he throws out on the field are quite staggering when he's actually on the field. And then he shifted Madueke dug outside so that the coach could be in his ear driving him forward. I think the other thing, I think Rashford comes on as an impact player. If you're playing the last 20 minutes of a game and Rashford comes on with a wild hair up his backside because he hasn't been in the side, he's been replaced by Anthony Gordon at Barcelona and England and wants to play, which is the Rashford that we've got now. Tragically, for a boy of his talent, he's a consequence player. Every time he does something that gets him consequence, he responds to it. He doesn't play well for a season. The England team need him to be available for the next World Cup. He has a good season. He goes away, gets himself into trouble by not turning up for a training session, gets consequence. Next 3 games, he plays very well. So I don't think Rashford starting is the answer. I think the midfield popping the ball around against teams that sit in and defend. And interestingly, I watched the Panamanians. These are not a bad side. They are quite a dynamic side. I thought the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of games against Croatia was quite exciting. And I think Panama will come into this game thinking, well, we're out. So we've got nothing to lose. What's the point of a low block? What's the point of just sitting in? We can have a go at England, and it might suit England. You might find England come out of this game with quite a handy win.
Briefly, the two of you and Rashford. Stuart.
Couple of things. I think out of the 4 players that John mentioned, 4 wide players, I think out of all of them, Rashford's the best impact player. I also think he'll...
Saka?
Yes.
OK.
If I'm looking behind me and I'm saying which one of these 4's got more chance to get me a goal in the last 20 minutes, I will put my money on Rashford to get us a goal. Also, I think he's going to start against Panama.
You do?
Yes,
you, Sam?
I think that it's justified the clamour because he does look like the one who is likely to score a goal. I think the difference is Anthony Gordon does much more work off the ball and is trusted by the manager to do that work without the ball that Rashford sometimes forgets about. And I think that's the reason why he's in the team.
OK, maybe we see Rashford start tomorrow against Panama. Don't forget, England in action against Panama, 10 p.m. for you back there tomorrow night. Adrian Durham brings you that one alongside Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot. The build-up starts from 8 o'clock, so a couple of hours before kick-off. Now, the wickets are falling between England and New Zealand. Watching for talkSPORT's Sam Ellard. Sam.
New Zealand 435 for 9. Shoaib Bashir's got 2 wickets in 3 balls. First, Nathan Smith going for 6, trying to come down the track and hit back over the bowler's head. All he could do, though, is hit it straight back to Bashir. A really good call and bowled. Then a couple of balls later, Peter Blundell goes for 30. Bashir going around the wicket. Blundell looking to reverse sweep. He was hit on the pad, no bat. Plum LBW. So England are fighting back hard again. Late yesterday evening, New Zealand were 317 without loss. Now New Zealand 435 for 9.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. Friday morning here in New York, Friday afternoon back in the UK. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearson, Sam Matterface. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation.
What have you made of Stevie Clarke? He's come under the spotlight for how he's handled the journalists. He's come under the spotlight how he's set up Scotland, certainly in the second game as well. And some people have even questioned why he's had his term there extended before this World Cup. What do you make of that?
Well, Stevie Clarke, I played against him, and I know him, and he's not a Jose, you know. He's a very quiet guy, to be honest. And you have to look at what he's achieved as Scotland manager. It's brilliant, absolutely up there with the best. So. You know, people have got to realise in the press, I know the press getting on this, you know, this storm of the fans and the Tartan Army and we party and all that, but the press have got to realise, you know, where our players play, who they play for in the big league, in the World League. And we've done well to get there. We could have qualified, and I don't think we will. I think Steve Clarke's been frank and he's been honest. And I think he's right. There's too many permutations against us. Which is going to, again, we're going to be crying losers, you know, oh, if only. I had it in 82. You know, we should have beaten Russia in the final game. We drew 2-2 because we conceded 2 goals against New Zealand first game, 15th of June. So we knew it was going to be tough. And that was a side with Souness, Hansen, Dalglish, Strachan, etc. You know, it was a John Robertson. Great side. It's not easy when you get the big league. And, you know, the final stages, and I'm afraid we're just going to be, once again, we're just going to fall short. But it's a shame because the punters are brilliant. But I think the press have got to look at themselves and say, we're a small nation, we maybe have underachieved again. But thinking about it, looking at what Steve Clarke's done, he's not flamboyant, he's not charismatic.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, time now for Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. And for that, it's a game that's live on talkSPORT later tonight, 8 p.m. for you back home. Norway against France. Sam Matterface in studio with Stuart, myself, and Simon. Stuart, here's the thing. Norway, France, yeah, great. Haaland and Mbappe, great. But both nations are through. Is that an issue, this World Cup, regards the format? Quite a number of dead rubbers.
I think for the third place, it's a bit of an issue, but I found it quite refreshing, actually, that you're still in the mix to the last game, almost. I think both of these teams will be looking at the game and thinking, where's our best route, potentially, you know? So there might be a real difference between winning the group and second in who you're going to get.
It's a major problem. It's a huge problem. Paraguay versus Australia last night. Both teams knew that with a draw, they'd be through. It finished 0-0. And by all accounts, and I was doing the United States against Turkey last night, but that one was going on at the same time, and it was distinctly average, let's just put it that way. You'll remember 1982, the disgrace of Gijón. Do you remember that? Austria and West Germany. West Germany, they played out a 1-0 win because it meant that both of them went through, and poor old Algeria went back home, and it was widely seen as a disgrace to the tournament, and they shouldn't they will never be in that situation again. Well, we're in that situation now because later on, I think it's either tonight or tomorrow, Austria, funnily enough, play Algeria, and again, if Austria lose that game, Algeria go through, and Austria get a more favourable draw in the next round, and it knocks out the final team in their group. So I think there is a problem with this format and the last group games, because there's probably too many of them that can be sort of, you know, you can just take your foot off the gas, draw this one, and then everybody's happy and goes through, which I don't really think is how the World Cup should be working. And I'm a big fan of the expansion, by the way. 48 teams now, and I think largely some of the minnows have done a really good job. They've showed us that it was well worth including more nations. Look at Cape Verde. I was at the Spain game. Wow, what a fantastic story that was. Yeah. It was brilliant. You know, the Curacao getting a goal against Germany, but also then going on to play well in their subsequent matches as well. But I do think, you know, Paraguay, Australia last night, Algeria against Austria is going to be a talking point.
Okay,
I think it's a standalone at the moment. It's a standalone. The Australia game, we looked at that and thought, oh, a draw will suit both of them, and it panned out that way. But the USA game, you know, Turkey nothing to play for. The States nothing to play for. It's a fantastic game which you covered.
Yeah, it was a fantastic football match, and it was all about continuing the momentum for the United States. They made 9 changes in the game. Turkey made 7 changes, desperate to play for pride because they had been an absolute disgrace up until that point. 62 shots, so wasteful, and really let down a nation that had given them a fantastic send-off just a couple of weeks before. But the one that it does really worry me, that Austria-Algeria game, because Austria want to lose. Because if they win their game or they finish second, they end up playing Spain. They don't want to do that. So
we'll keep an eye out for that.
It's their benefit. It's to their benefit to lose that match.
Yeah, that would have suited us, a game that you needed to lose. You can watch it. Sorry to all my fellow Scotland fans. That was just a bridge too far. You can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/competitions.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Very briefly, we'll head back to the UK, the third test, Trent Bridge, England, New Zealand. Sam.
Late yesterday evening, New Zealand with 317 without loss, records being broken left, right and centre. In the afternoon session on day 2, they've just been bowled out for 438. England taking 10 wickets for just 121 runs. An incredible effort from England with the ball. The last wicket to fall, Ben Sears out for a golden dock. Jofra Archer full and straight, hits him on the pads. He is LBW. New Zealand first innings bowled out for 438.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. This Sam Matterface, will leave us here in studio in New York very shortly. Before he does, Sam, I want to talk about it's caused a lot of conversation over here, and no doubt huge amount back home. Scotland boss Steve Clarke faced a fair amount of criticism for his conduct in some of the post-match interviews at the tournament. As somebody I know, Sam, who, for talkSPORT, for ITV, you do a lot of post-match. Where do you stand on this? Because you will have encountered managers who are in no mood to speak to you after a match for whatever reason, because of what's going on in the 90 minutes. Steve Clarke, it seems here, has done himself absolutely no favours.
Look, I get it, and Stuart will tell you he's got a better handle on it than me. It's not easy, it really isn't. The whistle's barely gone, you're raw, you've lost, you think you're going out of the tournament, someone sticks a microphone in front of you, and there's no easy way to sort of express yourself in that moment. I imagine it's very, very difficult. But it is part of the job, and you are representing a nation. And I think, you know, the two girls that did the interviews, I know them. And I listened to the questions that they asked. They weren't being unfair. They weren't overly pressurising him. You know, he is the man who represents Scotland. I don't think the access has been particularly great all tournament, and I feel really disappointed for the Scottish fans that the team, or led by Steve Clarke really, haven't embraced the experience. You're with Scotland at a World Cup for the first time in 28 years. Open up, enjoy it, have a bit of fun with it. There are hundreds of thousands of people that have made a massive effort to come over and support that nation. What he should have done, and hindsight's really an easy thing to sort of look through, but what he should have done, he should have come out and he said, do you know what, I'm really disappointed right now, and I can't really put it into context, but what I'm really most disappointed is that we haven't put on a show for these wonderful supporters that have gone in and around this country and made a brilliant reputation for themselves.
Yeah, that's true, Simon. That's all he needed to do, isn't it?
Love them.
Well, whether he can say that or not is a different discussion, because that is, you know, maybe a bridge too far.
Oh, he should have thanked the fans.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as saying we didn't put on a show for you and we've let you down and that sort of stuff, which is the natural next step from it. There's two balances. There's I agree to the point that this is your job. This is what you do. This is a highly recognised, rewarded and applauded and lauded industry, and part of it, whether you agree with it or not, is the media representation. So you've got to do a job. You take up the upsides. If you'd won the game, you'd have done the media. And you'd have done it quite happily.
Exactly.
So you've got to treat both imposters the same way. The other side of the equation is, are the Scottish fans massively offended? Because we're offended because we're broadcasters and we don't like the fact he hasn't done his bit. But if you did a vox pop of the Scottish fans, said, did you want to hear Steve Clarke turning around and acknowledging you and all this sort of stuff?
Well, a lot of them are up in arms about it.
Maybe they might be. I mean, I don't know. If you're a Scot, you can speak to that, but you're a Scot in the media. So if the average guy on the street's looking at it, he's probably more disappointed that Scotland haven't achieved an outcome rather than their manager not talking in the media.
Stuart, you've been both sides of this. What's your take on it? Should Steve Clarke have shown the interviewers more respect and the moment paid it a bit more attention?
I wouldn't say pay the broadcasters more respect. Well, I would see it in a slightly different way. I've just finished doing a mentoring course before Christmas for the League Managers Association. If I was mentoring Steve, I would probably sit down with him and say, look, I think you've missed a trick to showcase yourself and the nation. You know, you've really missed a trick there. And listen, he's been my coach in the past at Newcastle, and I know him a little bit, it's fair to say, but I think he's missed a trick to showcase himself, and that's the worst part of it.
But is he, I mean, I know that's what we say, but is he this wonderful bon vivant? Is he going to be this person that has this wonderful personality that shines through? Because people are what they are. I hear what we're saying, and I don't disagree with the basic premise of it. You're in an entertainment business, you do have to face the reality, but I don't think there's a conversation about you have to have more respect for the broadcaster or the interviewer. I think that even comes into the play. We can't make it about the Scotland fans and then say you've got to show more respect to the interviewer. It's either about the Scotland fans or it's about the bloody interviewer, and the interviewer is the last part of the equation.
The tone is very much that, you know, they've made the massive effort to go out there and he can't even explain why he went to a game and played in a certain way, because there isn't an opportunity to have that discussion with him because he doesn't want to hang around and
will that opportunity afford itself later on, or does it have to be instantaneously, that without any consideration, any thought process?
That's the job.
Flash
interview.
It's part of the job. So what we're doing is we're determining.
They've agreed to do it.
I hear that, and he's done it. He just hasn't done it to the style that you like.
You could argue. Yeah, I mean, he walked off.
Yeah,
I'm not really having these interviews, and he walked off.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, I don't know about you, but that's not a good look.
Yeah, but I get tired of it, Jim, living in this world where it's about what people look like and what the optics of it are. That might suit you and your worldview, but it doesn't suit me. It's about what people do, and what's been done is Scotland have been poor.
I know what Sam Matterface looks like, and he looks great here in New York today.
I'm wearing Simon's jacket from yesterday, that's why.
There you go. Sam, thanks for being with us. There's Campbell, who's a big, Campbell, big Scotland fan. Sam Matterface, spot on with his observations over in New York this morning. There you go. But he's biased anyway. He likes you.
I like him too.
As do we. Sam, thanks for joining us. Stuart and I will crack on. A lot to get through. Still a lot to talk about in the world of boxing as well. Boots Ennis fights down the road in Brooklyn tomorrow night. We'll get to that following Eddie Hearn having been in studio earlier on. Todd DuBoef, one of the top men in boxing, is going to be joining us live. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce, Sam Matterface, anybody else who knows us. In partnership with Tool Station, Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Tool Station.
Bentley has been terrified all week about the Ghanaian witch doctor he slagged off.
No, he did not.
Supposedly putting a curse on Harry Kane and England's number 9, subsequently missing a sitter. Now, thankfully, the witch doctor, of course, lifted the curse.
It's funny.
Right, Now, there was a report in The Sun that you, Emmanuel, were cursed by a witch doctor.
It's Senegal.
Ignored it.
2002.
And got injured.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, before the World Cup in 2002, no, after the World Cup, actually, because we went out very quickly, during the World Cup in Asia. And when I came back, I was in holidays in south of France, and I had a friend, he was selling watches, on the beach, and he was expecting me. He was waiting for me for days. And then when he saw me, he came to me straight away and he said, I'm so happy to see you because I have something important to tell you. And I said, what is it? And he said, you have to be very careful because you have, how can I say that?
Curse?
A curse, yeah, on you. And you have to follow exactly what I'm going to tell you. And I said, what is it? He said, you have to go in Africa and you have to buy a cow and you have to kill it. And you have to follow.
Bit detailed and extreme, that one.
Yeah, but I said, listen, I understand and I really appreciate that. But this is your traditions and I'm not into it. So I won't do it. And 6 months later, I had to stop. But is it coincidental link? I won't say that,
Oh, so what happened to you? You got injured?
Yeah. And they cut
got...
my leg in 2 parts, so I had to stop playing football.
Did you get injured kicking a cow?
No.
Hold on. What part you got injured? Was it the calf?
No, that's my knee, the right knee, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You don't believe in any of that?
No, yes, I believe in it.
Are you amazed that Benny slagged him off?
No, I believe in numbers. I believe in sign, around. I think you have to be...
okay.
Is it superstitions? I have no idea, but...
Are you superstitious?
No, yes, I am.
Okay.
It's becoming ridiculous as well.
USA 94. What a summer when football became soccer in the blazing heat. It was also the tournament where fashion peaked. This, my friends, is Alexi Lalas. No, he wasn't Scottish. That's a full-blooded American right there. But in all seriousness, forget the hair. Look at the jersey. Dreamy 90s clobber. And it was everywhere. That's the legend that's Georgie Hagi of Romania, OVS, Brazilian shot stopper, Taffarel, and a Dutch guy. I mean, this was the period we were getting top quality in the Premier League too, but the national team designers raised the level even higher. The pitch was their catwalk as we got Germany, Bolivia, Sweden absolutely rocking it. The kind of kit we're shelling out for on retro sites to this day. And Spain, another beauty. 10 points if you recognise that guy. Of course, this was America, so the cheerleaders didn't want to be outdone. But in the end, 2 of the less is more designs made it to the final. And when Baggio blazed over, Dunga got the honours. The entire summer was an explosion of colour that would have broken Instagram. Sorry, just trying to get that Larson one off eBay. 70 quid. Bargain.
Hi everyone, it is 9:30 in the morning, Friday morning here in New York City. It's 2:30 on a Friday afternoon with you back in the UK. We are live on talkSPORT, live on YouTube as well. There's another great skyline shot for you coming out of New York, provided by Joe and Susan and Finn over here with us, doing all the technical work that we need to send you pictures and sound back to the UK. The New York skyline, as magnificent as ever. In this wonderful trade centre building, we're in a studio here on the 50th floor. As I constantly remind you, there are various other studios round and about this floor as well. The studio next door to us has just gone into overdrive, we hear, because it's true, is it? The Mets played the Cubs last night. I was there, and Pat is shouting over to me, the Mets have just sacked their manager, Carlos Mendoza. There we go. A bit of breaking news, everyone. The Mets have sacked their manager, Carlos Mendoza. My goodness me. It's all going crazy. I think I was a bad omen at that match last night, that game last night, because the Mets on a bad run. And now they've said goodbye. Adios to Carlos Mendoza. I wonder if this fella is a fan of baseball and what he makes of that news. I'm delighted. In the world of boxing, he is one of the senior figures here in the United States. He's been with us back in the news building in London. He's with us now in New York City. He's the president of Top Rank, and he's Todd DuBoef. Todd, hi to you.
Hey. Great to have you here in the States.
Thank you.
I thought this would be my home field, but I'm in this studio. It's your home field. It feels like you guys are owning it. So here we go.
Todd, thank you very much indeed. That is big news, isn't it, in this part of the world, that one of the major baseball teams parts company with a manager. Mendoza's just gone. The activity in the next newsroom apparently is to be seen to be believed.
Well, the managers are very cyclical and very temperamental owners across the leagues. When they don't get their winning, they don't get their things, they got to change something. And the first head to go is usually the manager's head. And so we'll see how it plays out.
He has gone. Todd, here's the thing. Big fight in this part of the world tomorrow night. Unified super welterweight champion Xander Zayas puts his WBA and WBO belts on the line against former unified welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis. Live on DAZN, we spoke to Boots in the studio just the other day, and he was an entertaining guy and a great fighter as well. Your man, of course, is Xander Zayas going into this. The rise of Xander Zayas, where did it all begin for him in Top Rank, Todd?
It began, he was actually the youngest fighter we ever signed. He was 16 years old. He walked into my office with his mother, and she had tears in her eyes, and she says, I want to put my son where Miguel Cotto started. And that was his idol and his dream. And I'm like, that was an incredible project. I hope you can fight a little bit like Miguel Cotto. He's got way more charisma because Cotto was very stoic, but a Terminator in the ring.
Yeah.
And it's been a slow process when the kid is that young and developing him, but he's got it. I mean, this kid, he wins a title. He's with Bad Bunny. He's at the Super Bowl and the halftime show. Emiliano Vargas, the two of them. I mean, 136 million people watch this thing. And the island, when he fought his last fight and won the title, we did a 40 share of audience in Puerto Rico. 40% of the households watched that fight. Huge.
They love him. He's got a huge following, hasn't he?
Yes.
I mean, Simon, I think we're in for something special.
Oh, I think so, but it's a hell of a voluntary defence take, isn't it? I mean, you guys have put him in against, I mean, listen, it's a great commercial fight because obviously contractual obligations around Boots Ennis make that fight work for Matchroom and perhaps for you guys. But it's a hell of a voluntary to take there for his...
Well, I think, we can talk about it. We talk about, like, guys getting protected, guys wanting to be great, guys pushing you. You know, Eddie and I went back and forth at the press conference, and actually when he announced it, he goes, I would never do this fight if I was Zayas, right? Yeah. He was saying this. He goes, I know the top-ranked playbook. You're not playing by the playbook. And I said to him, guess what? You're right.
Well, Todd, funny you should say that because Eddie was in the seat you're sitting on today. He was in here yesterday. And Eddie Hearn made it clear that he cannot believe, Todd, your man Zayas is taking on Boots Ennis. Have a listen.
For me, this is the fight of the year. I mean, it's the best be the best. It's a 23-year-old young superstar in Xander Zayas who deserves so much credit for taking this fight. Top Rank, who is his promotional company, they're really good at moving fighters and basically not getting them beat. They actually couldn't believe that he called out this fight. And you know, Roy Jones, I was listening to him, he was saying how good it is that a young guy that thinks he's the best in the division wants to take on really the bogeyman of the division, which is Boots. And you've got 23 years old, 28 years old. You've got a huge Puerto Rican fan base in Zayas. You've got the whole of Philly coming up to New York and New York in Brooklyn. I don't want to put too much pressure on Boots Ennis, but I'm going to do it anyway because he's that special. This kid is the pound-for-pound #1 in the weighting. He is the most phenomenal fighter I've ever seen. He is going to do a job...
You've ever seen?
I've ever seen in my entire career. He's that good. And he will put on a performance on Saturday that will announce him as the new megastar of boxing.
Well, now, Todd, your man, Xander Zayas, is a champion, but nobody views him as a favourite going into this. That is a very unusual dynamic. You probably think he's going to win it. Obviously, you back him to win it. Well, but it's an unusual dynamic.
No, I don't know that it's an unusual dynamic. I mean, I think one of the things that's you have to understand is Boots is a very established, skilled fighter. And like Canelo when he fought Mayweather, right? It was a little... Zayas is young. So is it his youth? Or is it that he's not ready in the experience? Or can he rise to the show? He's chomping on a big piece right now. And we're going to see. But we had to let him run. He's like, I want this. I'm not going to let...
I love it, Simon. I love the build-up to this
It's an interesting one. Eddie can say the things that he says, but until you've had the reputational fights when you fought... OK, some of the fights, he talks about Stanios, and he talks about Lima, and he talks about David Avanesian. But these are decent fights. These are not reputationally establishing fights that turn around to make that observation that he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I think that's a stretch. When he beats, you know, established... I mean, I know that some of those names are... I was wanting to see, and interestingly, the commercial, I wouldn't say stitch-up, but circumstance around Josh Kelly fighting Zayas, because I think the fight that people were looking towards was a unification situation in terms of, you know, bringing Josh Kelly to fight Zayas in the US. Now, for commercial reasons, I suspect satisfying Boots Ennis and contractual obligations that Matchroom might have to him to make sure he stays in their camp was one of the reasons why this fight was made. But it's a great, all that to one side, it's a great fight. And you know, and I think that whilst I make Boots the favourite, and I think that Boots will win this fight, I think that Zayas will bring it. And you've got a whole raft of Puerto Ricans that are going to be at this stadium that are going to be behind him, alongside an American contingent supporting Jaron Ennis. Yeah. You know, what we want is the kind of fight that lives up to the billing that this fight is currently getting, and I think we're going to get it.
And I think you're heading it exactly on the head. And what's the one thing we're all missing on this? Two guys in their prime.
Yeah.
Two guys in their prime. When you're in your prime and you put it on the line, right? Yeah. And may the last man be standing. They both win. Wow. And the sports wins.
We're looking forward to it, Todd. Todd, you're probably very keen to know what's going on in the cricket back home. So let me tell you, we're going to head to Trent Bridge, the third test, England-New Zealand Sam Ellard.
Todd, enjoy every single second of this, my man. I'm doing it for you. England 8-1. Will O'Rourke strikes early for New Zealand. Emilio Gay goes for a darker short ball down the leg side. Gay looks to just work it into the leg side, but glove to the keeper, and he has gone for 0 runs. Ben Duckett scored 2 really nice boundaries in the first over of Nathan Smith, driving beautifully through the covers. Duckett's got a. Bethel is the new bat, yet to get off the mark. This is after New Zealand bowled out for 438. England taking 9 wickets for 121 runs. England 8-1 in reply.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. 2:45 with you back in the UK. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce, and new cricket fan Todd DuBoef. We're live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Toolstation. Manchester City have agreed a £116 million deal to sign Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fee, as you might have guessed, is the most ever paid for a British player and represents a new record for Manchester City. He's 23, Anderson, and has now been given permission to undertake a medical right here in New York today, with the deal subject to the finalising of personal terms. You would think that will get done quick style. Alex, Elliot Anderson, this is a remarkable rise, isn't it?
Certainly is, when you think that he went from Newcastle to Forest for a relatively modest sum. I know Eddie Howe at the time didn't particularly want to cash in, but obviously they had issues with PSR.
Yep.
It's interesting, the figures. City side are saying 116 million. Forest side are saying actually it's nearer to 130 million. Either way, it's a record, as you say, for a British player, potentially a Premier League record fee, eclipsing what Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak this time last year. I was speaking to a couple of ex-players at the darts last night, and we were pondering, if Elliot Anderson is really a £130 million player, how much would someone like Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? I think he's a terrific player, Elliot Anderson. I'm not sure he's a £130 million player.
Well, sure. He joined Forest, as Alex says, from Newcastle in a £35 million deal in 2023. So, not so long after that, we've now arrived at 116 million.
Well, brilliant business for Forest. If I'm going to my chairman and I'm going to buy him, let's say, I've got my Manchester City head.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
We're live from New York. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce, and at the moment we're in the company of the president of Top Rank Boxing, Todd DuBoef, who is getting swept away a bit with World Cup fever. And you were just saying to Stuart in the break, you actually went to Qatar. You get into the World, you've got the World Cup vibe again here in the US then.
Yes, I mean, I just think the World Cup is, you know, here in the US is special. I think it's, I mean, you know, we have 3 countries doing it. I had this fantasy. I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to 3 games, 3 different countries, Mexico, US, and Canada. That was my dream. I haven't executed on any of that. But I'm just letting you know, watching the amount of pageantry, the fans, the patriotism, the flags back and forth. It reminds me of those big prize fights. You know, when the guys are coming out of the tunnels and the Puerto Rican and American flags will be waving on Saturday night. I love that. Sure. That's what World Cup means to me.
You're sitting beside an England legend in Stuart Pearce. He's hoping that England go all the way. Who do you think will win it, Todd?
I mean, everyone says France, and you know they said they seem to be the favorite, but I don't know. I thought England looked a little flat last game. They did. That was my opinion. I thought they looked a little flat. Yeah,
of course. We're looking ahead to your big event down the road in Brooklyn tomorrow night. Zayas, that's Todd's man, going in against former unified welterweight champion Yaron Boots Ennis, and it's live on DAZN. Briefly, and we're going to look at the undercard in a second, what we're going to see between Zayas and Boots. What kind of fight is it going to be? Because everyone in this city is talking about it.
You know, I think it's a fight where I think you're going to get the young lion that is going to have to insert his will on the very skilled and crafty boxer from Philly, which is Boots Ennis, and he's going to have to make it dirty. And Zayas is going to have to just beat him to the body, punch his arms, back him up, keep pushing him forward, see if he can take how he gets caught, if he gets caught with a counter punch or not, and just make it a real street fight. And let this whole, like, Puerto Rican nationalism get behind him and fever and behind him just to push this guy into the corner and try to wear him down. That's what Zayas camp is hoping for.
Okay, and on the undercard, the UK's Ben Whittaker is over here. Is there a lot expected of him?
You know, I think people don't know that much about him. He's obviously in the US. They've seen a little bit. They've seen some highlights. Obviously, very, very proud Olympian out of England. Has I always can say a little bit of a Nassim Hamed style, where he has that very powerful, awkward style, but he's quick and has some power. The kids I know that were in the U.S. Olympic team speak so highly of him. They really love him. It'll be interesting to see what Whittaker shows up. I think we've seen a bunch of different Whittakers.
That's a great point. I like the way Todd phrased it. It'll be interesting to see what kind of Whittaker shows up, Simon. He's on a big stage here.
He'll show up. I mean, his opponent, most notable name on his record is a loss to Badu Jack. So whilst this guy can bang a bit, the guy that he's fighting against, they're not bringing Ben Whittaker over here to lose a fight. They're bringing him over here to break him into America because he's got the personality. You know, the comparison with Nassim Hamed, don't ever mention that in front of Nassim Hamed because he doesn't like that comparison at all. He doesn't think that Ben Whittaker can lace his boots. But Whittaker is an interesting character because there was a big argument about whether he can punch or not, and whether he, at this weight class, which is a fiercely competitive weight class, look at the people in this weight division, look at who's fighting for titles in there, and look at who's got them. You know, Beterbiev, Bivol, look at the quality that's in there. We've seen Anthony Yarde go up, you know, David Benavidez recently. They've got some real quality in that weight class. So Ben's going to have to do well to win a world title, unless these guys obviously sail off into the sunset. Yeah. But I expect him to put on a commendable performance. His punch power has been answered recently because he's been knocking people out.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting to see if he shows the stuff that I personally like, and it divides people's opinions in boxing, which is the showboating stuff. Now, if he does this in America, I think they're going to love it, especially if he executes on the back of it. If he does what he does in previous fights and then knocks somebody out, then people are going to go, A, they like the entertainment, and B, they like the fighter.
Todd, the man who is recognised as widely having revolutionised the sport of boxing in recent time, Turki Al-Sheikh, he was quoted recently, "I'll do my best to do a meeting soon between my brothers, Dana White, Nick Khan, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, and my partners and friends to make peace and revolution for boxing. I hope I succeed and boxing fans see the white smoke rise from the chimney." Quite an image. But you guys, Todd, you're a big name in the world of boxing here, top rank. You're not mentioned in there.
Well, I think this is, in my understanding, this is as it relates to the Joshua Fury fight. That was my understanding of the context of it. A lot of where's the fight going, who's the promoter, who's doing this. There's been a lot of jibber jabber. So fortunately, nobody's been, we're not in the hornet's nest on that one. Yeah. Obviously, Eddie and Frank have a lot to say about what's going on. And I think that the bickering back and forth is, just part of it. And he wants to be a peacemaker.
I mean, do you want to be in Turki Al Sheikh's inner circle, if you like?
Well, I'm not sure that we're, if that's the inner circle or not the inner circle. What is it, right? I mean, I think he has been very selective in trying to build and big events in Riyadh and build the sport to where he thinks it should be with the athletes, and he goes directly to those fighters and to the promoters to work with them, and we've provided a number of fights for him on ring. So, for his ring shows in general. So I think we have a nice, cordial relationship with him. And, what he's doing for the sport is fine and good.
I mean, we spoke to Eddie about that. We spoke to Frank about that. Things seem to be changing all the time.
It's Dana, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I speak to Turkey quite a lot, and I get on very well with him. And his attitude is that you've got something, if you're worth something to me, then I'll engage in a relationship with you. If you have fighters, because constantly Ben Shalom always wants to have this relationship with Turkey, and I always say to Ben, have a roster of fighters, and he'll utilise them. It's interesting that the biggest disruptor that really has caused all the mischief is the one that's suggesting that he wants to make the peace talks, because he's the intellectual capital behind Dana White. Dana White is the one that's, is doing all of the, I wouldn't say trash talking, but elevating himself. There's an argument going on between George and Frank about the ongoing relationship that was supposed to be theirs, that's now manifested itself in Nick Khan and Dana White doing their deal with Turkey. So all of those things are interesting and background noise, but Turkey is a disruptor. He owns parts of broadcasters. He puts shows on different platforms because he wants to get everybody moving around to serve the agenda that he ultimately has.
Todd, on AJ Fury, I think we'll finish on this. If this was a battle of an all-American battle, if you like, you guys would go all out to have it here for the American public. Should British fight fans feel aggrieved if they miss out on AJ Fury and it comes this side of the ocean?
I mean, I could see absolutely the biggest fight in the history of the country, why people would be very livid at it leaving its country and leaving the fan base and leaving the people that have supported it. I mean, that would be like, taking the Super Bowl and moving it, over to Berlin.
At Wembley
and say, hey, we're going to Berlin.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Why do we need the Patriots to be in Berlin? Who knows? I just think, I think personally that when I heard news that it was coming to the United States, I was quite shocked.
Do you think it's going to come here?
No, I just, this rumblings that we all heard, right?
Yeah.
We heard this stuff. I was a little like, whoa, that's interesting. I thought for sure that fight would be in the UK. And I think the fans deserve it, but we'll see how it plays. And as you said, the disruptor is at the epicenter of that. And he's going to be the one making those decisions. And we'll see white smoke sometime, at some time, and then a location for the fight will happen.
And the flip side of that is that he who pays the piper calls the tune. So these fighters won't fight in the UK unless someone pays them the kind of money that they want. And if no one in the UK is going to pay them that kind of money, and Turki Al Sheikh is the person that's going to pay this kind of money, then you have to look at the fighters and go, well, do you have a moral responsibility to fight in the UK because of the fight fans? They have a moral responsibility to themselves and their well-being. So if Turki Al Sheikh says it's going to be in the US or in the Middle East because he's the one that's putting up the money, and the fighters will only fight for that scale of money, then look at the fighters, not at the location, because with due respect, it's his choice and his privilege.
And because there's an exponential amount of more of economics that he's willing to put up. And he's willing to say, I'm going to run in the red and it's not going to pencil out, but I want to see this. And exponential.
Because the size of the fight is the size of the fight.
Exactly.
He's bridging the gap.
But he's the size of the fight plus.
Correct.
Okay, Zayas against Boots, in a word, what we're going to see, it's going to be what?
I think it's going to be a gritty fight, and I think it's going to go to a decision. Really terrific fight. I think it's going to go to the decision.
Todd, thanks very much indeed for joining us over here. We'll see you again, probably see you over the weekend at the fight, etc., etc. President of Top Rank. How's Bob Arum? Is he all right?
You're going to see him on Saturday night.
Oh, he's going to be there?
New knee and everything.
New knee?
He got a new knee. Guy got a new knee at 94. This is
Excellent.
a new trend.
Excellent.
We're going to be amazing.
There's hope for us all. Todd DuBoef, thank you for joining us. It's 3 o'clock at home. It's 10 in the morning here in New York.
When you look at Scotland over the 3 games, David, what is your overall assessment and takeaway? I mean, most of us looked at it and felt that Morocco and Brazil would be a reach to get anything from, and that the outcome of the Haitian game would be important and that goals needed to be scored. Criticism is being made of Steve Clarke. I'm not asking you to jump on the bandwagon, but the manner in which Scotland have played, the lack of bravery, the fact that they've been very negative in lots of people's minds, and Steve is a defensive coach. When you hear all those things, what's your assessment of these 3 games and the opportunities that Scotland have either taken or missed?
Yeah. Well, we spoke the other day. I think the biggest word that you're missing here, Simon, is quality. I don't think Scotland have the quality at the moment available to them to compete. I'm not saying that on the odd day that you wouldn't beat one of these teams and get good results, which we did against Denmark, for example, when we get through those games. But I just feel that generally Scotland have been short at that level. We talked about it a few days ago when we were talking about the Haiti game and only winning 1-0. We all felt it was a really good result. Not a really good result, but a good result because we had got 3 points. But you were right in what you were saying. We probably needed to score 3 or 4 goals. But I don't think MD, who's played Haiti yet, or certainly Morocco, have found it that easy. And I don't think they've been as maybe...
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, 3 minutes past 3. Let's start at Trent Bridge, the second hottest day in Test cricket history in England. And England have been dealt an extremely early blow in their response to New Zealand's 438 all-out. It could be twice as bad if not for a dreadful drop catch, Sam Ellard.
Yeah, 31 for 1. Gay going for a duck. Caught behind off O'Rourke, but Ben Duckett dropped on 8. Nathan Smith, the bowler, going around the wicket, edge to third slip in what should have been a simple catch. Henry Nicholls dropped it, and Ben Duckett is punishing Henry Nicholls. He's 26 of 23. He's hit 6 boundaries and is looking like the Ben Duckett of old. Hasn't hit a century in any format for England since last summer. Been short of runs, but has been very aggressive today. He's got 26. Bethel's got 4. Gay out for a duck. England 31 for 1. New Zealand by 407 runs.
Thank you, Sam. Overseas listeners have ball-by-ball commentary on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Elliot Anderson, meanwhile, has been given permission to have his Man City medical in the US because a fee has been agreed. We're not sure what it is. City say it's 116 million. Forest claim it's closer to a British record-breaking 130. Emmanuel Petit knows a thing or two about playing midfield in the Premier League. He thinks there are better options than City.
Pep Guardiola is not there anymore. Yeah. So many players that come, into Manchester City have changed, have become different players, but he's not there anymore. Yeah. I don't know what will be the future, for City.
Meanwhile, at the World Cup, talkSPORT understands Jarell Kwanzaa is on standby to start against Panama, with Reece James struggling with fitness. Nico O'Reilly's pushing to reclaim his left-back spot, and Bukayo Saka believes he's ready to make his first start of the tournament. Stuart Pearce thinks Marcus Rashford will also start, but thinks he may be more suited to finishing the game.
I think out of all of them, Rashford's the best impact player. I also think
Saka.
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm looking behind me and I'm saying which one of these four has got more chance to get me a goal in the last 20 minutes, I will put my money on Rashford to get us a goal.
And Jack Draper has been given a nightmare first-round draw at Wimbledon. He'll face last year's semi-finalist Taylor Fritz, the world number 6. Emma Raducanu was scheduled to face Antonia Rusic, the world number 60, but Raducanu's missed training for the last 2 days as injury fears grow. You can read more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Henry Novak's murderer's lies have finally been revealed, and Andrew Tate has been told he won't find out the identity of his accusers. More with Toby at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heatwave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Cloudy with outbreaks of rain and thunderstorms with hail and gusty winds in Scotland, but elsewhere continuing to be dry and sunny with extreme heat, particularly in the east. Temperatures dropping slightly in the west.
Good afternoon to everybody back home in the UK. 6 minutes past 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. With us here in New York, it is 6 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning, and we are live on talkSPORT, coming to you live, of course, on your TV, coming to you live on YouTube, coming to you live even on Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch the show, you can watch it live. And that, again, another fantastic shot of the New York skyline. The window cleaners are out there somewhere doing what they do best, cleaning the windows of the World Trade Center. How they do it with that sheer drop, I will never know. We might even be meeting them next week. That's what I heard last night when I was at the Mets baseball. The Mets have just sacked their manager. How'd you like that? They're in a losing run. He has gone because the Cubs beat them last night. It all got too much. Too much for us. Simon's alongside Stuart Pearce in studio. Simon, just to pick up on the boxing theme, just before we leave that and move on. You were saying to Stuart, and I heard you there saying you absolutely adore the boxing scene as a sport because of those who operate in it. Not just the fighters, but those round about it.
Well, the intrigue of all the different personalities. I mean, I can take or leave Eddie and other people, but I admire their successes. I admire what he does because I think he's brilliant at what he does.
Yeah.
But it's the actual fighters themselves. When there's a few exceptions, when Fury gets on my nerves, but there's the most of them. When you listen to their stories, when you understand them as human beings, and you understand what they go through to be in the position that you're in, you can't have anything other than a deep-seated admiration for them. And you watch them, and we see the unbridled joy when we've had Jamie TKV, albeit briefly, in the studio, having won his British title belt. We saw Dalton Smith come in the studio, having won his world title. We saw Lewis Crocker coming in, because they know that the sport that they're in has achieved something for them. It's taken, not just taken them out of a place where it's very difficult, because most of them come from very difficult backgrounds.
Sure, but they appreciate it.
But they just value their experiences and the unbridled excitement, and also the sheer adversity that they have to overcome. It kind of sanitises my thinking about, I mean, I'm not degrading footballers, but my view is that there's something more noble about this sport than there is about...
There's something about the fighters, isn't there, Stuart?
There's three sports that I revere for what they do. It's jump jockeys, boxers and rugby league players. I think they're incredible athletes, I really do. Because they have to put their bodies through it, you know, mentally and physically. Incredible.
Of course.
Lots of respect for them.
Another big day here in the US with the World Cup. England in action tomorrow night. They might well be playing with this. This is the match ball. England-Panama, June the 27th. New York, New Jersey. The Trionda, is it not? Yes, indeed, the Trionda. Thank you for that. England, of course, still very much regarded as one of the favourites to go deep and even win this World Cup here in the United States. Scotland waiting to hear whether or not they're going to go home. It's the biggest World Cup ever in terms of competing nations. One of those nations competing was hosts last time around, Qatar. Now, a Telegraph investigation and wait to hear this, has claimed that Qatar, at this World Cup, paid for fake fans to come and watch their games. It's being reported that 1,000 fans in Seattle were paid to watch Qatar-Bosnia earlier in the week, and they were present thanks to an all-expenses trip paid for them from Qatar to get them here to the US. Some of the quotes coming out of this are quite remarkable. The Telegraph goes into some details about this. The football supporter starter kit was provided by the Qatari Football Association as part of this extraordinary effort to convince us all that this is a well-supported footballing nation. Just 24 hours before the Bosnia match, a crowd of football novices gathered at Seattle's Hyatt Regency to be given their instructions. The men and the women, some who had never been to a match, were greeted on the third floor by Qatari officials after being told they could attend the 2026 World Cup, the most expensive ever, for free. As they arrived, the Qatari Federation made it clear that they must look the part in return for their $350 seat by distributing a fan box to each individual. And the fan box had a bunch of things that they were expected to wear and probably did wear at the game, including a Qatari shirt. One wonders what the legacy of this World Cup will be, Simon, here. We wondered what the legacy was back in Qatar, and we were all there. But when you hear a story like that, and we've no reason to disbelieve it, the Telegraph have gone strong with it. Fake fans.
So, first of all, what's the problem with that? Second of all, there has been discussions. I remember going a couple of years ago to Inter Miami, and there were debates and discussions about the legitimacy of a large proportion of the Miami fans that were there solely to create noise and make background noise and to create entertainment and atmosphere inside the stadium. So there is a thought process that happens in other spaces. So the fact that Qatar is a very small country with very early stages of football development and probably trying to find a way to capitalise on some reputation it might have created for itself in the Qatari World Cup, and they want to try to create an image, and we see it across football. We're seeing football fans being seeded into football stadiums to create noises. So what's the problem with it?
Well, it's just the legacy of 4 years ago. Fake fans. We all wondered at the time, Qatar, the venue for the World Cup. We were there.
But it wasn't about the fans,
They made a seriously good go of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this time around, does it really come to that?
But was it?
Have they got to be seen to be present?
But the World Cup,
in a fashion like this.
But the World Cup wasn't awarded to Qatar because of its fans. It was awarded to Qatar, and people might suggest it was awarded for Qatar for a variety of reasons, right? One of them being Sepp Blatter and some observations about how it was awarded. They'll push back against that, and various reports have decried that.
Yeah.
But it was awarded to the region because the World Cup is supposed to be operating in a variety of different regions.
True, true.
So, however it throws out an outcome, I'm not entirely sure what we're supposed to be offended by.
Does it raise an eyebrow to you, Stuart, that a nation would pay some of its supporters to come here and say, go in there, pull that jersey on, support our team?
I find it unusual, but I'm not offended by it, I've got to say. I think, you know, with the price of tickets and everything, if someone said to the Scottish fans or the English fans, we're going to pay for you to go to the game,
True.
You'd be absolutely delighted with that.
True.
You know? But so I'm not offended by it. A little bit surprised, but listen, it's
a manufactured fashion of it, Simon.
Again, I've just
somewhat strange.
But I've just given you an example, which I don't think is particularly controversial or disputable. That when I've talked about the MLS game that I went to, there was a big debate about not so much the legitimacy, but what those fans were there for.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you what they weren't doing was watching the game. What they were doing was playing various instruments, hoisting various tifos, and making elements of noise at inopportune moments in the game because the opposition were attacking, and they were celebrating as if it was their side that were attacking. So they clearly weren't watching the game, and they were there to curate an atmosphere and to create and curate the entertainment.
I mean, it's rent a crowd.
So it exists then. So it's not a Qatari thing; it's a football thing.
Right.
Not suggesting I got paid for it, but I've been to 3 baseball games in Houston, in Dallas, and just down the road at the Mets. I'm a transient fan. No one paid me to go. I had to pay for my own ticket, but I'm a transient fan that turned up and.
But that's different. You paid your own way, Stuart.
Well, potentially, yeah.
Yeah. OK. Well, let's hope they enjoyed it.
Well, that was a good work. I mean, the journalist must be very proud of his work because that's very insightful for us all. We all learned something from that.
It's an interesting story, isn't it?
I don't know what is interesting about it. Just out of curiosity, what is
the manufactured aspect of it? What is interesting about it?
No, I
rounding them up, paying them to go in and say, support your nation. Do us a favour, make it look good.
It might be better than having them migrant workers build stadiums and die in the heat. That might be a better version of the Qatari state doing something for their people.
True, we remember that. Stuart Pearce might get emotional in the next few moments.
Why's he got to buy a drink?
Because we're going to reunite Stuart, if you like, with one of the players that he signed. When did you manage Manchester City?
05 to 07.
05 to 07, it's quite some time ago. We're going to reunite Stuart Pearce with one DaMarcus Beasley, former US winger. And DaMarcus in studio with us very shortly. Stay with us. We're live in New York.
You mentioned him there, right, and about Nico Riley. Now, obviously, the manager made a change because he saw something in Ghana and he thought Spence would have been a better option. But you would have watched Nico week in, week out. Does it faze him, whoever he's playing against, however quick they are, strong they are? Is he just the perfect left-back in terms of playing against anyone?
I tell you what is the difference between Nico and Jed Spence. Nico will get you a goal. He will get you a ghosting and get you a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen enough of Jed Spence. I'm not Tottenham fan. I haven't seen enough of him, so I don't know. But I would, being biased, he'd be the first name on the City team sheet, never alone the England team sheet. So, and when he came on, he had one of the two best chances. So, I wouldn't be quick to drop Nico. He's whatever he might lack as a fullback, he'll give you going forward the other way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And he's fearless. He's fearless on the ball. You know, he can dribble like a midfielder. You know, he's a top player.
Let's sort of move it on to City while staying with England. You are edging closer to a deal for Elliot Anderson. And I said before the window opened, if United could buy one player that would be gettable, it would be Elliot Anderson. I'm not too sure about the price tag. I don't know what that's going to be. I know Forest have already rejected a deal worth about £121 million. Your views on him? Are you excited by the prospect of him being a City player?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken much notice of him, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's one of those players that you don't really, he scored against us last season and he was great. But the price tag, silly money for footballers, you know what I mean? Is any footballer worth that amount of money? But looking at him in this World Cup, he looks the real deal to me. He's got a good engine. You know, he's forward thinking. He knows the league. He gets stuck in. You know, he's perfect for that. I mean, we need a midfield. He's a perfect replacement for Bernardo. Do you know what I mean? Who also had a great engine, didn't mind.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
football debrief on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Spend £50 with Toolstation Club to collect stamps for a chance to be rewarded every time you score a 3-stamp hat-trick.
Okay, time now for our football debrief with Toolstation. We were joined in Qatar when Simon and I were there 4 years ago. Can't believe that, at the last World Cup. And now he joins us in his own nation. He lives in Houston, but he's made the trip to us here in New York. And for Stuart Pearce, it's a moment of reunification, if you like, because he gets back together with a man that he took to Manchester City when Stuart was managing. I'm delighted to welcome the man who's joining us here in studio, former Man City, PSV, Rangers winger, DaMarcus Beasley is with us here in studio. DaMarcus, great to see you.
Great to see you guys. Morning.
And this man thought so much of you.
I know. I don't know what you thought about signing me for Man City.
I thought you needed an experience of working with a really crap manager.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Just to
So it worked out well.
Exactly. It worked out well for both.
Well.
How did it work out?
It was a deadline signing.
Yeah.
Because I was at PSV and I was looking for a loan because I had a bit of an up and down season my second year at PSV, and I remember signing the contract in the car going to the city ground.
Right.
It was like right at the death.
Do you know what? I think I was sporting the yellow tie that night on Sky.
Yeah.
A bit of breaking news. DaMarcus Beasley. Stuart Pearce, he did a good job for you, though, you were saying.
Yeah, he did. We needed a lift. We needed a wide player to go past someone, and he come in, done well for us, really good. So, and we had... To be fair, I'm not suggesting, you were the bargain basement, but we had no money at City.
Yeah.
It wasn't the well-powered.
It was a loan. It was a loan deal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Brilliant loan for us.
You certainly don't regret it. 126 times capped for the USA. I mean, playing for this great nation meant so much to you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Anytime you can represent your country, in our sport at the highest level, it's special. And now being able to see the World Cup here on home soil, I'm jealous of the boys because they get to play in front of their families and friends in the States. That's something that every kid dreams about that wants to become a footballer, is representing their country in the World Cup. So to be able to do that and to stand there with my hand over my heart and listen to the national anthem before the match starts, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Simon, in Qatar, you and I were there watching England, USA, and on that night, the USA outshone England.
They were a better side, on that night, yeah.
Yeah, DaMarcus, all this time on, how has the USA developed as a footballing nation? What are you seeing here at this World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this group, and not to get too much deep into it, but when you look at this group has been together for a long time. And, from the failures of 2018 when we didn't qualify for Russia, this group, basically the main core of this group has been together for that whole time. And obviously in 2022, a lot of their first time playing in the World Cup, and it was okay. They didn't do anything that we expected them not to do. But you look now and you watch those first two matches against Paraguay and Australia, and you can see you can see the improvement. You can see how much they've enjoyed playing with each other. You take a guy like Alex Freeman. This kid is 21 years old. He came through the academy in Orlando from MLS Next Pro, then his first team debut at Orlando, and now he's with the national team within a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that.
Yeah,
it's impressive. It really is. And like this group is good. I enjoy it.
I mean, I think it's fair to say, Stuart, the level of expectation has changed in the US.
I've had people on the street come up to me that probably don't follow soccer out here and said, how far do you think we can go? With real excitement. They've got a feeling the American team can go a long, long way.
Yeah, they want to win it. I mean, you listen to some of the players. That's what I'm saying. That is their goal. The players in this squad, they openly say we want to win the World Cup. That's never.
They want to.
They want to.
But they won't, will they?
I don't think. Look, we've never been able to beat a European or any kind of big power consistently, and that's been our Achilles heel. So that's going to be difficult for us to do that 3 times in a row. Can we compete with any team in the world? 100%. But to do that 3 times in a row to be able to win a World Cup, that's a tough task.
I spoke to Marcus about the expectation. This was reflected last night by Mauricio Pochettino's reaction. So don't forget, the USA had already qualified before they went in against Turkey last night. They lose the game right at the death, but Pochettino clearly not happy about the pessimism amongst the US journalists. Have a listen to this.
Very positive to finish in the way that we finish. Cannot be possible, I'm sorry guys, it cannot be possible that Turkey finish celebrating the 3-point and Australia celebrating the qualification, Paraguay celebrating the qualification, and come here and for you not to say congratulations that we won the group. That is a little bit sad, but only that. I need to remember you and everyone that we won the group. Sorry, guys, we won.
Well, he was determined to make a point there, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys have seen Pochettino, obviously, when he was at Chelsea and Tottenham. What do you think of him as a manager? What do you think?
I like him, personally. I think
he's a bridesmaid. I think he's a very good manager, but I think he's a bridesmaid. And whilst I think it's a great coup for the Americans, it's an interesting choice for him. But I would imagine there's some sort of economics or franchise or some sort of affiliation with American football going beyond the World Cup that's driven him here in the first place. But I think that winning the league in Liga 1 is a given with who he's managing. Other than that, I think he did great jobs, but I think he's a bridesmaid. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't do wonders for the US team, and I'm not sure if I agree with him about taking on the American press, because the Paraguayans were poor, the Australians weren't much better, so there's a part of me that thinks that the Americans should be doing what they're doing, and the journalists are not there to be cheerleaders. They're not there to sit there and go, well done for qualifying for the group. You've got to take things in individual moments.
Yeah. So, I don't mean to cut you off, Simon, but I think two things could be right.
Go on. Yeah, I think so.
In your point. One is that, they were 100% expected to win this group and to go to the next round. Yeah. But at the same time, we won the group. So why is everyone so disappointed with one match? Because before the World Cup, they were saying, okay, yes, we have to get to the round of 32. We have to get, with the teams that we're playing against, we have to get out of our group and win it. We did that. And because of one match that, in the scheme of things, didn't really matter. It matters to football.
Sure.
So we want to win.
I want to hear what you think of Pochettino, because, I mean, my first meeting with him was, again, back when I was at Sky. Nicola Cortese invited me out
Southampton
to Barcelona. So they just acquired Pochettino. Southampton had gone after Philippe Coutinho in Spain. Came back with Pochettino. And over in Spain, I watched his first training session, and people like Adam Lallana and Ricky Lambert, I think, were coming off thinking, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
And he at a very early stage in his tenure at Southampton, he raised an eyebrow or two in a good way.
Yeah.
You like him?
I do. I've been able to and had the pleasure to watch him with some of the things I do at TNT and with friendlies and on the broadcast. So being able to sit down and talk to him and see how he works, it's fun. I think he's a great man. I think he's very passionate about the game, about football. I think he loves being a part of this team and managing this team. And coming into this cycle of the World Cup, we had some issues. We had some culture issues throughout our squad. Guys were thinking that it was too easy to come into the national team, that it was a privilege or it wasn't a privilege, and they just thought because of the name on the back they would be in camp. And Pochettino changed that.
Changed it.
He left some big names out in a couple of friendly matches and a couple of friendly windows.
Yeah.
And it kind of raised the bar a little bit. And you see that.
And he smacked Pulisic as well, didn't he? About when he wouldn't play.
Exactly, during the summer. Yeah, so I mean, those kind of things.
What's your expectation, DaMarcus, of the USA?
Quarterfinals.
What's acceptable?
Quarterfinals, for sure. And then after that, we all know it's knockouts. So I do think that competitively we can beat any team in the world. But in my opinion, getting to the quarterfinals, I think that would be a success for this team.
Okay. 3:30 at home, 10:30 in the morning here in New York. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce and DaMarcus Beasley. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation.
Football debrief on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Spend £50 with Toolstation Club to collect stamps for a chance to be rewarded every time you score a 3-stamp hat-trick.
our big players aren't like rising to the occasion, and Darren, you'll know this more than me, but I was sitting pitch side melting tonight. The conditions were horrific, like the humidity was stifling. You know that way you're taking a breath in and there's no fresh air around you. It's hard work. And when Andy Robertson came off at half time, he walked right past me and he looked like he was laboured. He looked like it was like, you know, the end of a horse race, and you know, you could see his like side going and stuff. He was really struggling, and then he didn't come back on, you know. So there was a number of factors to come into it. I think the weather might have caused us an issue. It was blooming hot, really, really hot. We're not built for this madness.
No, we're certainly not. Just quickly, I heard you were a bit unhappy with Steve Clarke, some of his exchanges with reporters post-match.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, who do you think you are? Do you think you're Pep? Because you're not. You know, we've not been at a World Cup since 1998, and it's incredible that we're there. And it's down to Steve Clarke. So I get that he's done his bit, but I think that's last week it happened after Morocco to somebody I've known for a long, long time. You know, you come off and you storm off from somebody like that when they've got their job to do and you've got your job to do. And then 6 days later, you do the same thing again. You know, don't not have to. Don't understand why we have to do this. We shouldn't have to do this.
To win the World Cup gives you the ultimate bragging right. To win it as a player and a manager, I mean, that's like completing football. And only 3 have ever done it. Mario Zagallo with Brazil, Franz Beckenbauer with West Germany, Didier Deschamps with France. Statistically, though, who's the best? Let's start with this guy, Mario Zagallo. He won the World Cup as a player in 1958 and 62, winning 10 of his 12 games across 2 tournaments, and the other 2 were draws. As a manager, he won 9 of 13 across 2 tournaments, including all 6 played by his iconic Brazil side in 1970, a win rate of 76%. Franz Beckenbauer had a slightly better managerial record, winning 10 of 14, but his playing record was a tiny bit worse, winning 14 out of 18. That gives him 24 wins in 32 in total, a 75% win rate. And finally, Deschamps, who won the only World Cup he played at in 1998. Until 2026, he'd coached France at 3 World Cups, winning 14 of 19 games. I mean, look at that, a combined 20 wins in 25 games. Crazy. An overall win rate of 80%. So, based on the stats, it goes Deschamps, Zagallo, and then Beckenbauer. But let's be real, there's no losers here.
Hi everybody, we're live in New York. A bit of a grey day here, but it's going to brighten up later. We hear it's still very hot back in the UK, and we wish you all well trying to cope with that. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Stuart Pearce and DaMarcus Beasley in studio here on the 50th floor of the World Trade Centre. Many Rangers fans getting in touch, some Manchester City fans getting in touch as well with the show. DaMarcus, I'm going to get to that, your time at those clubs. In the meantime, the USA have qualified. DaMarcus was saying earlier, maybe his expectation is that they get to the quarterfinals. You want them to go as deep as they possibly can, obviously. How important in all of that, to that end, is Christian Pulisic?
Hugely important. I mean, if you watched the match last night, him coming on for the last 25, 30 minutes, he changed the game. I mean, I think in the first 10 minutes, he had 2 chances created, beat a couple guys 1v1, hit the post kind of unluckily a bit. the keeper made a good save. But honestly, if we want to do well, we need Christian Pulisic. We need him fit. We need him healthy. He is our best player. Yes, there are a lot of other important players, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Chris Richards at Crystal Palace, incredible player. We need those guys too, but Christian has to be that guy.
Right. DaMarcus, I want your take on this. The other day, Simon and I spoke, I think it was in Zoom, wasn't it, Luke, to the general manager of Charlotte FC, one of the teams, of course, in the MLS, Zoran Krnetja. And Zoran spoke very well throughout the chat, I have to say, especially towards the end, when we pushed him about, OK, what is going to be the legacy of this USA World Cup? The legacy. Tell us about it. This was Zoran.
I would agree with Commissioner Garber that potentially this league can be top 5 leagues in the world. There are a lot of work ahead of us, but I think that a lot of work has been done. And if you look at the league today and league 5 years ago, when I first joined 6 years ago, or 10 years ago, you cannot recognize it. And I'm not talking now Messi effect, Messi and his friends, mates in Miami. I'm talking about a lot of other clubs changing the policies and not going for the old washed up players, but investing in the young players and selling them. We, for example, sold 2 players, one to Derby County, one to Middlesbrough. They've done brilliantly last summer and they're doing really well in England Championship. So I think the level is rising and it's getting better and better. We're still not there where we want to be, but I think potentially America can be a really, really competitive league.
DaMarcus, Zoran Krnetja said the legacy of this World Cup might see the MLS become one of the top 5 leagues in world football. I mean, no, you're not having.
No, that's tough, man. Yeah, I think like MLS is we're in a strong spot. I think the league is stable. We have some really good players, young players in the league. Obviously, we have stars with Messi, even though he's 39. He's bringing a lot of eyes to the league, to this country. But I think there's still a huge gap between, you talk about Champions League football and then you talk about MLS and, some of our cups here in this country. And it's still a bit a ways away. And look, I played in those matches. Those are the matches that I miss. I miss playing in those leagues. But MLS, I think we're in a good spot. We're up to 30 teams. You see some of the beautiful stadiums, the infrastructure that's coming, especially in Chicago, one of my old clubs. It's beautiful to see. I'm proud to be able to say that I started my career in the MLS. But to answer your question, will the legacy be that we can start to compete against the European leagues around the world? That's tough. That's a tough one.
Well, you weren't having his take on that.
No. But ironically, that response was on the back of the conversation I had with Dan Countermatch, the Chief Communications Officer at the MLS, and Don Gerber, who are projecting that they will be this. One of the key components is, if everyone thinks that North American football, as we call it, soccer as they call it, isn't going to have an impact on the world stages beyond themselves, they will. This nation are going to have a significant football presence. Now, how they do that, whether they merge with one of the other leagues, whether it be a South American merger or whether it be another league, whether it be an Asian league to get the domestic powerhouse financial broadcasting rights behind it, that's going to happen, no doubt about it in my mind.
Right.
For their guys to develop talent, they've got to stop shipping it across to the European market and they've got to start retaining talent in this country, because the way these teams are going to get better is not their best talent going to European football to play in European football. The way the MLS is going to progress, if the big stars want to stay here, i.e. the big American stars, and the way you're going to do that is you've got to change the construct of the financial landscape around it.
Yeah.
The broadcast deal with Apple was a great thing because it brought Lionel Messi here. Lionel Messi effect has a bump, and the Beckham effect had a bump. The fact that these teams, here's the thing about American football. You've got a team like Sheffield Wednesday that I was attempting to buy not so long ago that can't be bought for nothing. i.e. nobody wants it because it's laden with debt. The Montreal Impact, which with all due respect is a pissant franchise in terms of world football, is worth $500 million. So the play football on a regular basis. 1 in 16 people in the world. You think these guys are not going to compete?
Well, it's a good point, Simon. I mean, Stuart, you managed DaMarcus at Manchester City. Was there a time you thought MLS, I wonder?
In regard?
Well, that your career.
Me personally?
Yes, might have taken you over here. And had that been the case, would you have found that an attractive proposition?
I think to play abroad would have been attractive. I mean, at the time when I was playing, the Italian market was big. Every player wanted to go and play in Italy, and I thought at one stage I might be going to Italy, and also had interest from Japan when Japan were trying to take off over there. But listen, I think to come over to the States would be very interesting for players. I don't think if I was in my pomp playing in Europe, I would go to the States now. I'd want to play at the highest possible.
And for a coach, is the MLS an attractive proposition today?
I think so.
I mean, Dean Smith's here. Amongst others.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think it is. I think it's a brilliant place to work.
Yeah, for general managers as well, Simon. Ian Ayre down at Charlotte.
Well, commercially, the Americans are so phenomenal. This is what they think about British football. If you look at Egbali and you look at John Henry and you look at these guys that are owning UK football teams, they think it's commercially under-resourced. They look at the broadcast deals, think it's wonderful, but they think the commercial side of things... Look at Inter Miami and look what they did. They had broadcasting rights that were 2 and 6 because of the Apple deal, but the commercial revenue streams that they put around the teams are phenomenal because the scale of this country is so significant. And the one thing that I liked about being over here when I was doing the stuff a couple of years ago was the most important people in the room are the owners. So I like that very much.
Oh, it always had to be the owners, DaMarcus, didn't it?
Yeah, right.
just in case you were wondering.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
DaMarcus,
I don't like it, but it's true.
Let's talk about the important people in the game, the players.
Thank God.
Here's the thing, mate. You've fulfilled a lifelong ambition to play in the Premier League. Stuart was with you at Manchester City, but it was cut short, wasn't it, due to injury?
Yeah, actually came to, I don't know if you remember, but when I signed, I was actually injured. And for the first, I think it was maybe 2.5 months, I was on a treatment table. So I didn't even get a chance to a whiff at the Premier League when I first arrived. But then obviously
that was good
around Christmas.
I saw something in him.
Great,
I really
I'd have been
liked.
delighted.
That's
Oh,
right.
well
up
done,
in a wheelchair.
Holding that X-ray picture up to the light.
Exactly.
Now we'll sign him. But DaMarcus, Rangers, and your time there, played under Walter Smith, of course. How do you look back in that time in Glasgow?
Incredible. I loved my time at Rangers. Same, I was a little bit injury-stricken a bit. But, you know, to be able to play at a club like Rangers and to be a part of something special when we were winning a lot of titles and, you know, getting to the European final in 2008, I think it was. That's a big step for us for
against Zenit.
Rangers. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
ironically, Dick Advocaat's Zenit.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. So, my time at Rangers was great, and still have a lot of friends from that football club.
Any particular memories? I mean, everybody's got many memories of Walter Smith. What was your particular one, or ones?
It wasn't a good one for me, I'll tell you that. But no, great manager. I loved him as a guy, as a person, as a man. But I remember there was a time where I wasn't playing, and I wasn't moaning, but you could tell when I was training I wasn't giving everything, and you know, as footballers do sometimes, because you blame everything, you blame everyone else except for yourself.
Yeah.
And I was still a bit younger at that time, so I remember he said it was in a meeting, and we had a fitness session. And so it's probably, I think the whole team was there, you know, Barry Ferguson, Chris Boyd, everyone's there. And he started pointing out players. He's like, yeah, you know, the reason why we're running is because, you know, you're not kicking the ball right now. You're not kicking the ball. And Beasley, you're not effing kicking the ball right now either. And I was like, yeah. I mean, he called me out by my name. He pointed fingers, but then he said, Beasley, basically, I'm not training, I'm not doing anything, and that's made me change my kind of mindset in football. And then after that, it was a different story. But
you didn't have a lot of luck with your car, did you?
You told him to say that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No.
Yes,
no, they. I swear they don't know about this.
You don't know about this?
I remember this.
Man.
I remember this.
Yeah.
DaMarcus Beasley in Glasgow, as you might expect, one of the high-earning players, drove a very nice 6 Series BMW. What happened to it?
They blew up my car.
Blew it up?
In front of my house. This is not a joke. I still have the pictures of what it looked like. Yeah.
I mean, you can laugh at it now.
Yeah, you can laugh at it now. Look, I'll tell you a really quick story. So I'm in my flat. I'm at the top of the flat. It's about maybe 11 o'clock at night. I'm on the couch. I get a call from my neighbor, and she says, did you park outside? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I think your car's on fire. I said, what? She's like, yeah, I think your car's on fire. She's like, I think you need to get down here. I've already called the ambulance and the fire department.
Yeah.
And so I get downstairs, and right in front of the flat, my car's in flames. The car is in absolutely flames. And yeah, I don't know if I can tell any more of that story, but yeah, that was definitely a tough situation. You can laugh about it now, but yeah, someone actually blew up my car in front of my house.
Wow. I mean, I love it. There's a line in there, a footnote to this story. Strathclyde police were unsure of the motive for the incident. You love that. DaMarcus, in spite of that hair-raising moment, you live to fight another day. And it's been great seeing you again.
Yeah, it's been great. You guys got a better studio now from Qatari, by the way. This is nice.
Yeah, not difficult, was it? Not difficult, was it?
This is a much better studio.
It was a bit of a shoebox.
It was. We're on a couch, and yeah, we're all snuggled up together.
People hanging their laundry.
Yeah,
But you found us there.
I did.
And you found us here.
I sure did.
Fantastic. Go USA. Did I really say that?
Yes.
DaMarcus, let's see where they get to in this great tournament. DaMarcus Beasley with us live on talkSPORT.
Ronaldo is top, still top. But Haaland, for instance, is a better finisher.
Let me ask you this. In world football, I said this, Bentley, on yesterday's show, and I got a little bit of criticism. In his pomp, right? I'll ask you both. I'll start with Bentley.
I heard it.
I said R9 is a better finisher than Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, do you know,
he's a better striker, number 9.
Do you know what you said, right? And you said he was a better goal scorer.
Okay.
Right? Now, for me, R9 is a better centre forward. So I don't think it's even close, right? But what people will do is look at the numbers. And this is where sometimes stats-wise, like the new generation will go, if I say R9's better than Ronaldo, Cristiano, they're going to go, are you crazy? He's scored 1,000 goals. But sometimes it's not about just stats. It's about what does your eyes tell you. And anyone who's watched it, you would have watched him. R9 is the best centre forward I've ever seen.
R9, for me, that's my hero. He is... That's why I wanted to become a striker. You look at him, and Ronaldo has done absolutely magnificent, yeah? And Ronaldo, it's all about numbers and goal scoring, and he's obsessed with that, and that makes him so good. But R9 is just phenomenal. He's just incredible.
Better.
Oh yeah, as a footballer,
so
much
both
more
agree with
natural.
me on that.
Yeah, but you said, because the way you said goal scorer.
Yeah.
Now
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Time now to catch up on the odds thanks to Sky Bet. We're joined now by Ross Williams from Sky Bet to look at today's football and discuss the latest odds round and about them. Ross, hi to you, my friend. Let's start with Ecuador, shall we?
Yeah, hi Jim, good afternoon. Yeah, I mean, what a shock that was yesterday. What a result, one of the results of the tournament. Ecuador into the knockouts for the first time in 20 years. A few people had the crystal ball out, I think it's fair to say. They were 3-1 before the off. 2,500 Sky Bet customers just about backed them as singles yesterday, but it wasn't, to be fair, a success story for everyone. We had almost 120,000 ACCAs that were losers due to Ecuador winning yesterday. So, yeah, Germany not a very popular side with Sky Bet customers yesterday, it's fair to say.
I'll bet. What about head-to-head later on today then, Ross? I'm talking France against Norway.
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully, touch wood, not seen the lineups yet, but it's two superstars head-to-head, isn't it? Mbappe, Haaland, obviously each scored twice in their two games so far. I think it's fair to say both are going to have an eye on the Golden Boot. Messi currently fav at 7-4, but Mbappe just outside 2-1, second favourite to lift that Golden Boot at the end of the tournament. Haaland's still pretty backable. He's third in the betting at 6-1 as well. And in terms of tonight, hopefully we get some plenty of game time from both of them. Mbappe 7-2 to repeat the trick and again get a brace in this game, while Haaland he's 13-2 to achieve the same feat and go 3 games in a row with a brace of goals.
Good stuff. And what about on an outright basis? What can you give me?
Yeah, just as an update ahead of the weekend, I guess. I mean, France, they remain clear favourites. They're still 4-1. Obviously, we'll see if that changes this evening. They're ahead of Spain. They're 11-2. They've been a little bit up and down, obviously, after the back of the Cape Verde result, but fairly solid at 11-2 now. Argentina, rock solid, 6-1, third favourites at the moment. They're popular, as you would expect, with Messi's form. And finally, England, 13-2 at present. That remains pretty steady, despite the Ghana draw the other night. Fourth in the betting, and that's obviously ahead of the clash, the big clash yesterday, tomorrow, should I say, against Panama.
OK, Ross, thank you very much indeed. That was Ross Williams. And a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
As always, whenever he joins Simon and myself, whether it's back at London Bridge in the News Building or here in the World Trade Center in New York, as you look at images of the Statue of Liberty outside the studio. Stuart Pearce, always a very, very popular guest on this show. Stuart, big part of what talkSPORT are doing out here in the USA, of course, as well. But I want Stuart to cast his mind back as we finish today. Not 10, not 20, but 30 years ago. And this was a moment, do you remember it, Stuart? At Wembley, involving one Gareth Southgate.
Only just recently forced his way into the England side, Southgate. Model, they call him, at Aston Villa. He does everything right. Well, let's hope he can do this right as well.
Saved it!
Oh, my word.
Didn't he?
Oh, my word. And that was that. Brian Moore describing the scene, and England went out there and then. What was your feeling at that time? I mean, obviously, everybody gets round Gareth to support him.
Yeah.
But did you really have a strong feeling? We're going to break this hoodoo. We're going to win this thing on home soil.
Jim, I know what you're doing here. You're just trying to make yourself feel better for
well
Scotland.
Well said, Stu. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know whether to give him any of my time or not.
No.
We felt as though we had... That was arguably the best team I've ever played in. Best football team I've ever played in, that team in '96. Great leaders in the team, good camaraderie amongst the group, technically a very good manager in charge of the team. But my mind goes back to a few games earlier when we dispatched the Scots at Wembley.
Yes.
It was always pleasant.
30 years on, though.
Yeah.
And here we are again. I doubt if there's very few Englishmen anywhere would be happier than you if England can do it here. Are they going to do it?
Time will tell on that one. Before the tournament, people said to me, do I think England will win the tournament. I said probably not. No, I don't think so. I think they'll go to the latter stages. With what I've seen with my own eyes at this moment in time, my mind's not been changed on that. I think that there's better teams out there at the moment. Time will tell. The one thing I can say from the experience of myself previous to that and Gareth's experience that day, I think if we go into a penalty shootout scenario with the preparation that Gareth's put in place, we would have a very good chance of winning a penalty shootout. And that's put us out on a few occasions prior to this.
OK. Stuart, great having you on board today. And of course, England in action tomorrow against Panama. And Stuart will be in action come that game. He'll be on co-commentary duty come kickoff. You and I, incredibly, will be here in this very studio tomorrow, Saturday.
Indeed.
On duty, part of the build-up to that game, England against Panama. It'll be the same time for Simon and myself. You've got to be up early again, Simon. We'll be on air here in New York from 8 till 11, and you've got used to us now being on air back home 1 till 4 in the afternoon. Interestingly, DaMarcus Beasley has just gone, and he was telling us afterwards that car incident and the setting fire to his car back in Glasgow all these years ago had really nothing to do with football. The plot thickens. It was a very interesting set of circumstances that he got himself into. DaMarcus Beasley, we enjoyed your company. Stuart, thanks for being with us. I will see you tomorrow, Mr. Jordan. Coming up next, Jeff Selling and Gabia Bonlahor. We'll remember them. We'll be taking all of your calls on World Cup Game Day Drive. Don't go anywhere. From us in New York, bye for now.
Listen, I love him. And people have asked me, would I take him at Arsenal? 100%. But you look at the last 2 seasons, Real Madrid, and then you look at the last 2 seasons for PSG, the 2 Champions Leagues. They were chasing the Champions League for so long. He moves out. They win back-to-back. It just doesn't look well on Mbappe, does it?